Hey everyone, welcome to the Steel Donut Collective, and we have our first ever interview with an author, Drax99, author of Angst Much, of other stories as well, but Angst Much.
We know him from Angst Much, and you guys might know him from Angst Much. And just as a... first of all, thank you for agreeing to do an interview.
Yeah, that was super awesome. We never had an author
didn't actually expect a yes, and it's gracious of you to go ahead and to give us an interview. That's very nice.
I got thick skin, man.
Yeah. And then, as a preliminary, I just wanted to ask, do you have anything you would like to say to our viewers?
Anything at all.
Like, about anything. You can just promote something, or you can say, like,
Read my book. Read my book.
Do you have a book that you'd like to shill for?
No, it's just the crap on film fiction and fan fiction.
Yeah. Okay, so...
I mean, I printed a couple copies, and you gave them to friends, and they don't talk to me anymore, but, I'm joking.
Do they not talk to you because of the book, or do they not talk to you aside from the book?
No. Yeah. No. Don't worry.
Although I have lost quite a few editors that they don't ever tell me that they don't want to be an editor anymore. They just kind of vanish off the face of the planet, so I'm not sure if the government's capturing them or what's going on.
I think it's aliens.
They put their brains out.
That is their MO, I think. Usually.
Yeah.
They just vanish. No, they won't email me. They won't text me. They don't show up on my IMs anymore. I'm like, okay, I guess I need a new editor.
Yeah. No, see, the thing is, there are a lot of writers I found who, like, their editors stop emailing them, so they go, I'll just wait, and that's their excuse to be lazy and not write at all.
Yeah, I don't remember what author we saw, but they said, like, I haven't posted a chapter in, like, 8 months because I'm still waiting to hear back from my beta.
It's like, yeah, okay, if you're waiting 8 months, then you need a new beta.
Yeah, but probably should have pick up on that at some point.
Yeah, anyways.
I wait 2 weeks and say, fuck it, post.
Yeah.
And apologize for not having edited.
Apologize for errors, but better to have something down.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but, okay, so Angst Much is one of the earliest stories on film fiction.
And that's quite an achievement, actually.
Yeah, it's actually, that's nothing to shrug at. That is one of the, it's like 94, I think, right?
Yeah. I was actually beta testing it when they were first starting the website, so
really?
I've been around for a while.
Yeah, it's been around for a while, and it's had plenty of community reactions, feedback, all that stuff. What have you noticed about the community reaction? What have you found the general takeaways people get from it?
Honestly, I mean, as much as you guys dig me and make fun of the story, I used to have dozens of people every day, like, God worshiping me, telling me how my story changed their life. And I'm like, what? You got to be kidding me. There's my ego was not that big. And I'm like, no, I know this story's crap. And they're like, no, it's awesome. I'm like, okay, can I please get some critical feedback? And all I would get was people telling me, how awesome it was and how amazing it was. I'm like, can someone please tell me how to make it better? I could not find anybody that would actually tell me what I was doing wrong.
Yeah,
exactly. That's why when I started watching your little reviews, I was like, awesome, finally some critical feedback.
Yeah.
5 years too late, but...
And I mean...
Let's be clear. We don't consider what we do to be like literary reviews.
Yeah, I mean, we exaggerate somewhat. I mean, honestly, your story is one of the best written stories we've ever covered.
Yeah, for sure. Like a lot of the stuff we cover.
They were like doing the whole freaking. We're not where they went. I'm like, no, really. Trust me, my stuff is crap. I need somebody to tell me how to make it better. And no. I mean,
our focus is on being funny rather than being like a really what's it called? Like a rigorous critique.
Exactly. That's why, we'll see somebody like, this is the worst sentence we've ever seen.
Right. But it's not really
the probably not the worst sentence. So.
But I was getting, no critique back then, and it was driving me insane. I couldn't find anyone that would tell me, how to make my story better, and after a while, I just stopped caring.
Yeah, and you'll find that a lot in, creative communities. I used to do a lot.
Yeah, everybody thinks they need to pat each other on the back.
Yeah, I did a lot of acting, and I'd ask people, it's like, what can I do to make my performance better? And they're like, just keep doing what you do.
Right.
And there's something wrong here. I can feel there's something wrong.
That's not helpful advice.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it was like. I mean, later on, several stories later, I finally got one or two of my editors that would actually say, all right, this is what you need to fix. This is good. This is bad. And, every now and then I get stuff. But it's funny because I can go in and I'll wait 2-3 weeks, go back and reread my stuff and find tons of mistakes. And I'm like, No one else spotted
even
these?
if you separate yourself from the work for just like a week or two, you can come back and find all kinds of stuff that you could do better.
I find that really helps. I'll just like sit on it for a week or two, go back, reread it, find a whole bunch of mistakes, fix them, and then maybe think about publishing.
Yeah, for sure. Some people write right there in the fanfiction.net editor, and that is like the worst possible practice. It's like, I need to write a story. Better start on the final draft. Like, you know.
Every single one of my stories is done in Google Docs, and they're all completely open to the public. Anybody can go in and comment and give suggestions. Some suggestions are better than others, but
do you want us to leave a link to that in the description? We can.
Yes, please, by all means.
Okay, cool. So if anybody watching is interested in seeing, looking at the Google Docs and stuff, that'll be
and actually being helpful and nice. Like, please don't go there and be an asshole.
Don't harass the authors, please.
I mean, if you can give good comments, I mean, I have it set to where you can't edit, but you can leave comments,
right?
And that allows me to either approve the edits or not approve the edits or whatever. It's really a very good collaboration tool. It's worked very well for me.
Yeah.
That's good.
Are you working on something right now?
Not really. Well, technically, yes. I am the master of unfinished fiction. I got about a dozen stories in the works. Whether or not I'll ever actually fix them, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
I really haven't been writing much lately. been doing way too much gaming instead.
Yeah, me too.
I just need a creative outlet, and lately it's been gaming instead of writing. So
What game, if you don't mind me asking?
What games?
Mainly EverQuest 2. Been getting hardcore into that with my friends and stuff since the last expansion came out. My cousin's been trying to drag me into Diablo 3 and things like that. And there's a couple other ones that I play here and there, Minecraft and a bunch of other stuff that I bought on Steam.
Yeah.
May God have mercy on my wallet.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Especially with the summer.
It's a struggle we all live with.
Man.
Jeez,
Yeah.
I was shot after that. So we got a question on here that we have a list of questions over here.
Yeah, that's why I keep looking.
That's why we're looking over here. Yeah. So do you write strictly as a hobby, or have you tried doing it professionally, or considered trying to get it published?
It's just a hobby.
Just a hobby.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've had a couple people, especially my customers, that come in. They're like, "Dude, you should totally write," and I'm like, "No."
Your customers?
I work retail.
Right, but I mean, like, do you share your?
I tell them, hey, I'm a writer, because I get a lot of people. I mean, I work at Staples, so I'm working in office supply, selling technology and stuff. So I get a lot of people who are also writers and other type of businesses themselves. So we get to chatting about stuff like that, and I tell them, I like to write as a hobby, and I do this because people come in like, what kind of computer should I do for this and that and the other?
Exactly, yeah.
And so I give my suggestions, and it winds up being a little story session. So, and I got a lot of them. They're like, wow, you should really write, try to do it for a living. I'm like, well, first of all, I'm writing about using, copyrighted characters. So I'd have to do something original.
Yeah.
And, second of all, my stuff just isn't quite up to snuff. I definitely have to get a better editor.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wouldn't worry too much about that. I mean, Aragon. Aragon is worse than...
Have you read Aragon?
Yes.
Oh.
It was horrendous.
It's terrible.
I think I could...
It was still better than the movie.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Honestly, whoever made the movie, I don't think they even read the book. I think they just opened the inside jacket, wrote down some names, and said, all right, we're going to write a script from this.
Yeah. Maybe they tried to read the book and were like, you know what?
This is too much of a slug,
I think the only thing they actually read from the book were the names of the characters, and then they just made up the rest.
Yeah.
It was disgusting.
Yeah. So
then, of course, if you read it, you realize, I'm reading Star Wars with dragons.
Yeah, that's literally when Blake and I first talked about Aragon. That's literally the phrase Blake used. He was just, it's just Star Wars with dragons.
Yeah, the plot's the same. There's that and we covered this in one of our podcasts. There's a sentence in the third book that's like over 1,000 words long.
Yeah,
it's.
We had one of my old English professors sitting in on a podcast, and not sitting in, like he was just in the background. He was part of the podcast, and we were talking about that sentence, and it was what a train wreck. Yeah.
I mean, even the title isn't original. He just changed one letter,
D to E, and he was just like, done. Yeah. He didn't even change the rest of the letters. He was like, what's the next letter after R?
I mean, and he was essentially writing a fanfic because he'd reference explicitly like Doctor Who, and he'd like include like people he knew their names in there.
Not even for humor. He did it because he thought it was good writing.
It was cool.
granted, you got to give him credit. The boy published at 19.
Yeah, but his parents owned the publishing company.
Yeah, but still, that's still pretty good.
Yeah.
For being 19 and getting, and I mean, they made a movie out of it. As crappy as it was, they still
made money,
someone thought it was good enough to make a movie out of. So you got to give him a little bit of credit for that. You know, give him props.
I'd be a lot happier for him if he wasn't like the most smug person who's ever lived.
Yeah.
Like if you've ever gone to his Twitter, like he thinks he's just the greatest author.
He's hot shit.
But anyway, next question.
I don't know. I've actually had dinner with Penstroke.
Oh, have you really?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, at BronyCon, all the writers get together and we hang out. It's an annual thing to get together and have a dinner every year.
I see. Okay.
And I sat across from him, and this dude is like seriously creepy.
Oh, really?
Like, he just had this 100-yard stare the whole time when I was talking to him. I'm like, and I turned to his friend. I was like, is he always like this, or is he like? He goes, I don't really know.
I haven't seen him another way, but I cannot confirm this is his natural.
The enigma that is Penstroke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next question is so when did you get into the furry community, and when did you get into the MLP
My Little Pony? Was it like My Little Pony first, furry after? You were in the furry community, right?
Technically, I'm a third generation furry. This took a little bit of researching and digging, but apparently, I always knew when I was a kid. My grandfather thought of himself as the Wile E. Coyote, and he had a crush on Miss Big.
Huh.
Later on, I managed to get my mom to admit she had a thing for Pepe Le Pew. And then here I am,
a smooth
as
Frenchman,
a little kid, just having a total crush on Mrs. Brisby at like 9 years old. So,
Mrs. Brisby from what?
Ransom Nim.
Secret of Nim.
Yeah, Secret of Nim.
Oh.
Yep, Don Bluth.
Yeah, Don Bluth was amazing.
I don't know about you. I think Secret of Nim 2 was definitely the superior film.
No comment.
That's a joke.
We don't talk about that one.
We don't talk about most of the Don Bluth sequels. Like it's an amazing phenomenon how every Don Bluth sequel is never made by him, and it's always bad.
Yeah,
like it's genuinely incredible.
So you when you were a little kid, you were always kind of a furry, but you probably didn't like have a word for it then.
I didn't recognize it until I was around 15,
Sure.
And a friend of mine showed me some porn pic of Simpsons.
Oh.
So I went searching for it to see if I could find it on the internet, and somehow it took a wrong turn at Albuquerque and landed on a furry message board, and I'm like, oh dear Lord, there's more of them.
Oh yeah. 15-year-old you was like, yeah. Like,
yes.
I discovered Doug Winger at an early age, and the damage was done.
Yeah. So when did you get into
Don't Google that, folks? Especially if you got family in the room.
Yeah.
Link in the description.
Doug Winger.
Let me Google that for you.
Yeah. But okay, so when did you get into the
Excellent artist, but his subject matter was definitely questionable.
Yeah. No. When did you get into the MLP community? Like when the show launched, or like later?
No, it was about 2/3 of the way. I was in like episode 23 or something like that.
Oh.
I'd always gone on the furry message boards and the image boards and stuff, and I started noticing a bunch of MLP characters, and I thought maybe it was just, as sometimes happens, somebody wrote a web comic or something,
right?
And other people were writing doing fan art of that person, because I'd never seen this particular style.
Right, it's a pretty distinctive art style, yeah.
Yeah, so I started seeing all these pictures of like the new the Gen 4 stuff, and I kept looking. I'm like, what is this? And then one day I happened to stumble upon a link to a video, and I'm like, wow, this is actually really good.
Yeah.
What is this crap? So I went down the usual story of in discovery and denial. I started looking at different videos. Then I started watching the episodes, and I started watching more episodes. The next thing you know, I'm sitting in a marathon watching the entire first season.
Yeah.
So, and at that point, I finally had to admit, okay, I think maybe I
actually like this show. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is kind of my thing. So, what are your favorite things about MLB?
I love the characters. The writing is pretty darn good. Considering other cartoons, especially when it first came out, cartoons at the time, the level of production is way above most of the crap. Because all the other stuff out there, I was just like, no. At least get a decent writer, you know?
Yeah.
Like, there's some shows around that time I still can't watch. Like, my cousin tried to get me to sit down and watch Adventure Time. I got through the second episode, and I started feeling like I was going to have a seizure. I'm like, what the hell am I watching?
A lot of people of my generation, not to put, well, I guess you're like twice my age, but like a lot of people of my generation love Adventure Time. And I could never really get into any of the cartoons, really.
I mean, like a couple years too late for that. Just like I was a couple years too late to get into Pokemon. You know, it's all my younger friends love Pokemon, and I'm just like, eh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Adventure Time is necessarily a bad show.
Yeah.
I don't think MLP is necessarily a bad show.
I don't think MLP is necessarily a bad show either, but
I don't think it has like quite the degree of complexity that people say it does. Because I mean, I've heard people talk about it as if it's like, you know, a Stanley Kubrick production. like seriously, they'll like go on and on and on. And
there's a few scenes and maybe a few episodes where they really try that, but at the same time, they know that they got to dumb it down because it's still for kids. So it could be that good, but it isn't. No.
Okay. I don't.
I think that's a very respectable opinion for someone who is a brony to just, you know, very openly say, because I think that's. I actually, before this interview, I'll just say, I was afraid that you wouldn't be willing to make a concession like that. So I'm glad to see you make that.
I've actually talked to the writers. I've met the writers. I've talked to them, and they'll tell you that to their
exactly. Like
we really wanted to do this, but at the same time, we got to have it's for little kids.
It's still got to be. They got to scale
this
back.
High-end stuff, so we got to dumb it down for the.
They can't make Inception.
Yeah, I mean, and even if they did, I think there would be a better format.
It's like a 30-minute serial, like a 22-minute, you know, show.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I really like, you know, the fan fiction community, because they can do that. They can take it that next step.
Right, and you don't have to participate in particular stories if you don't want to. You know, if I start reading a story and it's not my thing, I just back out and go read something else.
Yeah, exactly. But you don't
miss out on it.
We can take it to that next step and not have to worry about the repercussions on the core show. You know, that's why I like reading a lot of this stuff. It's pretty good. Some of the people that in this community are really, really good at writing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, anytime you give people the opportunity to make stuff, I don't remember whose law this is. There's some joke name for this law, but like 99% of it will be garbage. It's like you go on a Little Big Planet level creator, 99% of them are garbage, but there's 1% which are just awesome, and there's almost no middle ground. You know. Like, nobody makes mediocre Mario Maker levels. Everybody makes terrible ones, and then just, like, genius ones. Ones using the mechanics in ways you've never thought of. And, like, it's the same way with writing, with fan fiction. 99% of it is just going to be total trash. And then, you know, while we're looking for stuff, we'll see a story and be like, that's not just, like, good for a fan fiction. It's genuinely a good piece of work.
Yeah, and there's always an odd feeling when I see
when you stumble on that. Yeah.
Well, just when I see someone put a lot of complexity into a fan fiction that doesn't necessarily deserve it, if you know what I mean. Like you'll see like somebody put a ton of work into a fan fiction, and it's for like some like really dumb show.
Yo, Gabba Gabba.
Yeah, something like that. And it's like you know, you probably could have used your own characters and written something more that's easier to take seriously. As such, this feels like a novelty. Because you wrote a super serious story of something silly. So that's always sort of been the sticking point with fan fiction for me. Yeah. But there's definitely really good writing out there.
Yeah.
And I think it works for more serious mediums.
So speaking of other fandoms, are you a part of other fandoms? Like, since you came into the My Little Pony thing kind of roundabout way, you saw the art and then got interested.
Yeah, I mean, well, I am a nerd. I mean, obviously, so I like a lot of things. I'm not as involved. I haven't gone to any other conventions for stuff like that. But you know, I love, you know, like Doctor Who and Star Trek and things like that. I'll watch the movies, watch the shows, but I've never written anything in any of the other fandoms. I think the only other thing I've written a story for is I was doing a story for World of Warcraft, which again I never. Or, you know, basically it was a story for characters when I was playing the game hardcore.
Oh, so you just took the characters you were playing as and just wrote a story about that?
Yeah, I wrote his backstory. It was, you know, it was basically, he was
that's just part of the role-playing process. You know?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I do that sometimes when I'm playing single player.
Backstories for all my characters, and just one of them I just wrote a full blown story. I just never got around to finishing it.
Yeah. No. All right. So generally, what's your writing process? I'm asking a lot of these questions. Do you want to ask some of these?
No, I'll jump in. Just,
okay. Yeah. So what's your writing process usually like?
Usually I get an idea. It's either going to be from something I see, something I read, or a song I hear, and then an idea will pop in my head. And then along the way, I'll get an idea for how I want it to start, how I want it to end, and then a whole bunch of jokes or scenes will pop into my head. This, and then I got to sit down and just basically write the story between those scenes, and connect them all together and make a coherent narrative.
Right.
Because I'll usually have, I know how the story's going to end. I know how it's going to start. And I
want to know how to get there.
What scenes I want to be in there. And it's basically how they do cartoons. I'll have the storyboard. I'll have the key scenes. And then I just got to figure out how to write the story between them.
I think that's a pretty good way to do it.
Yeah, and what is kind of funny, because that's a pretty common process for writing. It's like you think of the scenes you want, how it begins, how it ends, and then you put sort of the gristle between the meat and to join it together.
Yeah, exactly.
I've heard someone else use that metaphor, so don't look so weirded out.
The gristle? You really put gristle into your food?
No,
well, if you're at McDonald's...
I love gristle. Well, that's why I go to Taco Bell. I can just eat horse meat and sand.
It's a metaphor. Meat has connective tissues in it. Let's say. Explaining metaphors to you. Yeah. Okay, so...
But what is the metaphor?
What is interesting is when you see a story where the key scenes really stand out, and it's obvious that they didn't care much about the connective tissue.
Right, they thought of these two scenes and everything in between is just filler. And it's obvious filler.
Yeah, you see that a lot in Aragon, where there's these scenes that are really intricately described, like more than other scenes, and it's like, you thought of this before you wrote anything else.
And then he went to the
And you just got to get to that scene.
Yeah. And actually, that's the thing, the other way that people write, the other really common way that we see on fanfiction.net especially, well, not especially, people just write this way, is they try to, I think they call it the headlamp method. And it's like, I've heard the terms pantser and plotter. Plotters are people like you who think of where story ends and story begins and how the steps in between and then tries to write something in between. And then the pantsers are people who are flying by the seat of their pants. They start writing and just hope they go somewhere. And
I do some of that.
Good luck.
I call it stream of consciousness. I just start writing and just keep going.
Yeah.
And then afterwards I go back and have to edit half of it out because it's crap.
Right, exactly. And if you don't do that, then your pantsing is going to leave your pants.
Exactly. And like I said, the reason I mentioned the Aragon thing is if you know a specific type of process, a bad writer will make the process stand out. Yeah. Like Christopher Paling.
Yeah, exactly.
Just keep throwing shade at Christopher Paling.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good process, the one it sounds like you use, but... Yeah. But the if you do it badly, it'll still end up with garbage. There's no foolproof way to do it.
And that actually sort of ties into the next part of this question. What was the writing process for Angst Much specifically? Did you go with that method?
Yeah.
Well, Angst Much was a little bit different because of how it came about. I've said it many times in the comments.
Sure.
I had a dream. It was one of those days where I was just dozing off. And literally, I slept for 12 hours. The whole time I was half awake, and just this crap was running through my head like I was watching a movie. Most of my dreams are freaking weird. They're in third person. It's like I'm watching TV. So I was watching all this stuff happen in the dream while I was half awake for 12 hours, and I woke up and I'm like, I can actually remember all that. I should write this down. And then over the next couple weeks. Each scene kept just playing over my head. So I was like, all right, I got to write this scene. And I got to write this scene. So I was literally just transcribing my id.
Right.
My id wrote the story. That's why it's such a self-insert. Because it literally is. My little child decided he was going to write out a story. And I'm like, all right, I'll type it up for you. So that's basically why. And that's one of the reasons why it turned out the way it is. And most of the people that gave me criticism, and mind you, I was surprised how few there were. They're like, blah, 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 Gary Stu, self-insert. I'm like, well, yeah, it was a dream I had. And they're like, really? Oh, well, then the story's great. I'm like...
That doesn't change the story.
Yeah, I know. But as soon as I explained to them that it was a dream I had, and all I was doing is just typing what I saw in the dream, and suddenly they were like, oh, okay, well, then it's fine. And I was hoping for some criticism, and no. I didn't
actually, I think on Film Fiction, you had an introduction that's not on fan fiction.
Yeah, because we read the fan fiction.
Yeah, we read the fan fiction version.
Yeah, fanfiction.net
version, not the fan fiction version.
No author's notes. No author's notes. I'm like, all right, fine, I won't put an author's note.
Yeah, people still do it anyways. But the author's note you have on the Film Fiction version is it says, I believe, that you were in a trance when you wrote. When you wrote.
Yeah, like I said, it was pretty much like a trance. It was like, I don't know if you've ever had this happen to you, where you're half asleep, you can still hear what's going on around you, but you just can't quite wake up. And like, I was feeling sick. I had a
so
fever.
It's not quite sleepwalking.
Yeah, I wasn't
it's more like
days.
I was just like laying in bed, like half asleep, and I could still hear what's going on around me, but I wasn't fully awake.
See, I've had that happen to me, but actually it happened to me because I was hypoglycemic. And I couldn't move, and my brother had to pour sugar in my mouth until I was able. I had enough ATP to move.
Yeah. And I've just had it from being sick. Like when you're when you have a high fever, you will sort of go into a daze.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I got high sugar, so
yeah.
But every now and then when it gets low, I've had that happen before.
Normally I'm fine, but that one day, I'll just tell the story real quick. I went to the pharmacy because I needed some allergy medication, and the pharmacy mixed up my medication with my dad's diabetes medication. And so I took one in the car thinking it's like, allergy stuff, and then when I got home, I was like, dead. But what I was going to say was, in the introduction, or the author's note you wrote, it sounded vaguely like, honestly, it sounded a little unbelievable to me, because I think you used the phrase, that first night lasted 36 hours, which is just by definition false. I think we agree that night doesn't usually last 36 hours where you live.
No, seriously, I was sick, and I was in bed.
So you were sick. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Yeah. Okay. Because it sounded to me like you went into like a new age, like a new age.
Wake up, I would just be like, collapse back into bed.
See, like the way I read it the first time, it sounded to me like it's some kind of like
mind expansion.
Karmic, the Buddha was reaching out to you, and okay, it makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah, because like I said, I've been that exact.
It was more like
I've been in those kind of
things. Anything. Yeah. But no, I was sick. I couldn't get out of bed. I literally was laying in bed for a day and a half. And I just couldn't get up. Every time I tried to get up, I just felt weak and tired, and I just collapsed back into bed. So
so the next one here, and it's also about the story. Would you act the same way if this really happened to you? Like if you go to sleep tonight, wake up in a crush, you're just like the story. Is it going
not
to be
in
like,
a dream?
Like you're there? Is it an exact recreation? Like how much of the story is an actual experience?
I'd like to say that this is how I like to act. But at the same time, no, I wouldn't have the balls to do half the stuff he did.
Yeah.
So because it's fictional, you're like, cool.
Yeah, like a lot of the stuff that he did is the stuff that's going on in my head, the stuff that I want to say to you. Like, this is what I'd like to say to this person, just to tell him to shut the hell up. And this is, but then in real life, no, that would never happen.
Right.
I'd just be quiet and be like, yeah, okay. Whatever.
Yeah, it's like we all would like to think that, like, if we saw something terrible happen, we'd be like, hey, stop that! But, like, we're all kind of terrified of
it.
Exactly.
So Drax in the story is like Jim Carrey in The Mask. He just puts it on and no inhibitions, does what he wants.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Like I said, it was a story written and starred in by my id.
Yeah. Relevant references? The Mask.
The Mask, yeah. That's a very recent movie. We have some viewer questions in the comment section and in our public Discord. People were asking us some questions. So
we've added them here and we credited it to them. We'll let you know which ones are viewer questions.
So this one's a question from the Altrox on YouTube. He asked, "How often do you still write? What has changed about your writing since Angst Much?"
I used to write almost constantly, nowhere near as furiously as when I wrote that story. Like literally, I'd like wake up, go to work, and like whenever nobody was looking, I'd run over and start typing into my Google Docs.
Like writing was like your thing.
Yeah, I was like driven. I had like the story just kept running through my head until I got it on paper, and then finally would leave me alone. And then the next scene would start playing in my head. I'm like,
damn it! Yeah, I gotta get this out.
Yeah. But, I mean, afterwards, it's basically inspirational hit, and then I would start writing. But lately, in the last, 2 years, it's slowed down to, almost a complete stop. I wrote like a half a chapter last month, but that's like all I've written in the last couple months. I mean, I get ideas, I'll write them down, and just never come back to them, never finish them. I haven't been getting as much motivation to write like I used to.
Yeah,
gotcha. Yeah, it happens.
It happens. Yeah, everybody's interests and hobbies shift.
Yeah, and that's basically what it is. A lot of my interests have shifted. I'm not as heavy into the fandom as I used to be.
Yeah.
And of course, at the same time, I also am not getting as much feedback as I used to. So, I mean, every writer, they feed off the feedback.
Yeah. And because like
people like start typing stuff, and they're like, yeah, that's this and that and the other. Yeah. And lately, like, no one's been responding to my posts, and I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah, because Angst Much kind of blew up somewhat, didn't it?
Yeah.
It did. It was insane how many people were contacting me every day.
Yeah, because I remember there was a forum I used to be on. I don't remember what it is. It's not even around anymore. It's how long ago this was. But it's sort of like, it was right when the show came up, Brony stuff started to take over. Yeah. And I remember your story being mentioned. Well, that's how I heard about it. It was like people talking about it, so I knew it was kind of a big deal back in the day. So
because
it's a shame that you're not getting the feedback anymore.
I don't know if you heard this in our riff. Oh, well, at this time of recording, have you seen every episode we've released to this point?
Just like bits and pieces.
15, right? Yeah,
up to 15. Yeah.
So you still got to do the epilogue.
The epilogue, yeah. We have some questions, and I'll run you through. I'll give you the context for the question, but
yeah, we'll give you the context.
But you heard everything else, so you may not remember, but we said that Angst Much is actually the story that started our channel.
Because I'd heard about it.
Yeah, he heard about it a long time ago and introduced me to it and Connor to it, and then we brought Matt on. This was before Matt was even involved in the channel, and before Yellow was even involved in the channel. But Blake showed me, and we thought, hey, it would be fun to do a reading of this on YouTube.
Yeah.
And so
pretty much just a straight reading at the time. We weren't even riffs. It was just going to be us
dramatically reading your story. And so then we decided we started doing the other riffs and stuff, and we wanted to put off doing that, both because we had a separate project in the works for your story, which will come out as a bonus video, I think.
Yeah.
Right? That's the plan right now. And you'll be able to see what our original take was going to be.
I think you might like the original take. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, you might like it. And then the other thing was we had other projects to do, and we had school, and we weren't quite where we wanted to be comedically to handle Angst Much. Because I think if we handled it, if we tried to start on Angst Much, I think we would have been, the beginning episodes at least would have been kind of rusty. And that's, I think our style has been at least sort of consistent across.
Yeah, at least they were funny, though.
Yeah, I mean, if you thought they were funny, that's the goal.
My ass off, and right. I'm they're right. Literally, I went not one, not three. I went through them that had to have been a glitch when I imported it. I went to the original. Nope, there they are.
Yeah, I actually had a question on here that I don't need to ask now because it's not even on here. It was in here and I forgot to put it on the list.
Yeah, I have a few. Is it okay if we just slam questions? I keep thinking of some.
We have been.
That's true.
But you mentioned that we were reading from the fanfiction.net version, and the FimFiction was the version that we should be looking at. But I actually went through and text compared all of them, all the versions I could find, including on other sites, and FimFiction's version, I can tell the order in which you copy-pasted them because of the errors that appeared because of site formatting. So, fanfiction.net removes extra spaces between paragraphs, and some of those got removed, so I know you went from FimFiction to fanfiction, but the not one, not threes are there on your original Google Docs.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I went back and I'm wow, I really did screw those up. No. I mean, there's a few things I could blame on the autocorrect. For instance, the "it's" thing.
Oh, yeah, it's. Your autocorrect's not going to catch the apostrophe S. Yeah. So that happens.
Yeah, my problem is I am dyslexic, so I tend to screw words up, but I will consistently screw those same words up the same way every single time. So I love the autocorrect feature that they have on Google Docs, where I can tell it to replace this word with this word whenever I type it wrong, because I'll always type it wrong the same way.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, with "it's" and "it's," it doesn't know the actual context, so it screwed everything up. And I had to go back and manually edit every single last one of them when it screwed them all up. And I did miss
and that's the beauty of Grammarly. It's more than just a word processor.
Okay, we are
it
not being
captures the
sponsored
errors.
by Grammarly. Don't plug them.
It captures the errors other word processors don't. Yeah.
Okay. So actually,
that's one of the reasons why I really wanted a good editor, but I couldn't really find one.
See, that's actually the reason why on our channel, at least I don't know about you guys, but for me, the reason I always point out "it's" with an apostrophe as "it is because I know at least some of our audience writes stories. And I know that it's useful to get a reminder that "it" apostrophe s is "it is." Yeah. So, it's always "it is."
I know.
That's why I always read it as "it is" too.
Yeah, like I said, I made the mistake of trying to tell it to fix this, and it went and fixed all of them, including the ones it shouldn't have.
Yeah.
And
it's like,
of course, at the same time, I also have a bad habit. For whatever reason, I keep letting go of the shift key when I type "I," and it does not recognize capitalization at all. So I had to go back and manually type all the lowercase.
Check for all the lowercase i's. Yeah, oh god,
it was a pain in the ass. Let me tell you.
Yeah. So we got through the Altrox's question. What would you have done differently if you were writing Angst Much today?
Yeah,
phrased a different way. How are you as a writer different than you were then?
Yeah.
I'd like to think I'm a little bit better at editing my own stuff, which is good because I'm having trouble finding a writer. I'm an editor. But
it'd be weird if you're having trouble finding a writer. That would be weird.
Yeah, the R.L. Stein method. Just have other people write for you.
The secret's out. Drax never wrote it.
Yeah. But at the same time, like I said, I've gotten a little bit better. I've learned a lot more. I mean, that was literally the first story I ever wrote and finished. Like, up until that point, even in like high school and college, I could write decently up until I had to get to a point where I had dialogue. I could not write dialogue to save my life. And the first time someone had to respond to something in dialogue, my brain would just lock up and I would just like, crap.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, like, reading for the channel, I've never ever written one thing that was, like, kind of okay, but I've never been a good writer because I'm a little too analytically minded. So if all the stuff that I tried to write when I was 14 is just like a list. It's very much. It's like reading a text adventure. It's like really dry.
Like literally, I wrote an entire almanac of this freaking planet. The story took place on, including all the background history, the planetary alignments, the everything. It read like a freaking encyclopedia for this planet. Yeah,
and then
I got about a chapter into the story, and the moment the main character meets someone else, my brain just like, now what?
I have a similar problem, but I don't recognize that I'm having the problem until after the chapter has been written. Yeah. I wrote a chapter where somebody goes to the high court and like talks to the queen, and like this was set in some universe, I don't even remember, but like talks to the high queen, and like there's some people at the market, they're all relevant characters, and in chapter 2 they're all going to meet up and become like friends or whatever.
Yeah, meeting at the tavern.
Yeah, they're meeting at the tavern kind of thing. And I went back through the chapter and I realized I had no dialogue. Like, even though everybody was talking to each other, they were buying shit at the market and stuff, I wrote no dialogue. It just described them talking, never wrote any dialogue. And I was like, how did I do that? It sounds so weird.
Miss Macintosh, my darling.
Yeah. It's so stilted without any dialogue.
Was the first time in which I was actually able to write dialogue. And, like, literally, I mean, even though, like I said, I wrote the story for my id, who was actually the author. He kind of taught me how to write. And then, like I said, I'd like to think that I've learned better, how to write better, and since then. But that was literally my first story, which is why, like I said, I don't mind that you guys managed to rip through it, because I'm like, 90% of what you guys were pointing out was 100% true. Yeah, I fucked that up.
Yeah.
I mean,
man, I really screwed that one up. Yeah. I was doing that and laughing my ass off along with you while you were doing that, because you're right, you know. And you see in the comments, a couple of my fans tried to. I actually first found out about it. Somebody wrote me a PM on FemFiction saying, "You guys got to go. You need to go deal with these guys because they're talking all kinds of shit about you and making you look bad." And I went and looked at them like, "No, they're right. That was really bad." I really did screw that up.
Full disclosure,
trying to defend me, and I'm like, no, they're 100% right.
Full disclosure, they didn't send that to you on FemFiction. They sent that to you on DeviantArt because they also sent me a copy of that message. And
yeah, you're right. It was DeviantArt. It was DeviantArt.
And
I'm just like, No,
he just sent the link to you for the first episode and said, "Don't let these guys take you down" or something like that. And like, as much as I was a little annoyed that you didn't find our thing naturally. Like, I would have loved to have heard that you found it just by Googling your own story. Like, you're just like, I wonder if anybody said anything. Like, that would have been great. But I'm totally fine with it otherwise. Like, but that guy just disappeared. Like, for a while, he wouldn't even, like, I tried to get in contact with him to tell him that I'm not mad at him, and he was too scared to talk to me, so I could tell him that I'm not mad, and that made me mad.
Yeah, because he was like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done this.
I should leave. And I'm like, no, don't leave. Don't stop saying you should, and then you'll leave, and I'll be like, "What the fuck? I'm trying to tell you, it's fine."
Yeah,
I mean, like please don't make a habit of it, but it's fine.
I've been begging people for criticism, so I don't mind it one bit, you know. And so these guys are like, "No, you need to go take care of this." I'm like, "No, they're right. I like what they're doing,
and like
I wish I would have had them back when I was actually publishing the story, you know."
Yeah, and like I said earlier in the interview, I mean, obviously, you know, since it's supposed to be a riff, supposed to be comedy, we're exaggerating, we're focusing mostly on the negative. But I mean, there were positive things in the story.
If we didn't mention it, chances are it was fine. You know.
You know what? I look at it as like a roast. You know, the celebrity roast.
Exactly.
That's how I'm describing it to my friends. I'm like, I got these guys. They've been roasting me on YouTube. It's freaking hilarious, and I can't wait to do the interview.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, there were even people who would like message and be like, "Oh, you guys being too mean," and it's like, this isn't really mean spirit. It's not like we're like, "Oh, we hate this author."
Yeah, and like
it's first chapter, just for jokes.
The first chapter, I will say that like listening back to it, I can definitely see how people who haven't read the entire story might think we were being a little too mean to you, the author, and the character. And I can definitely see that. But in second chapter, we got a lot of comments that were just like, okay, now I see why.
Yeah, and I mean, and we'd say from time to time, and this was genuine too, not just like a cover.
Yeah,
like we're talking about the character.
Right, you seem like a perfectly nice guy, but before we knew you were a perfectly nice guy, we still wouldn't talk shit about you. We're not intending to. You know, it's just unfortunate that the character's name is your username.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's the only reason. If you named him Dave,
once I looked at it from the point of a roast. Anything you said was fair game. Yeah. Because, I mean, seriously, you know, if someone like freaking William Shatner can sit up on stage and have people rip him a new asshole. And,
his roast was
you nasty. Know, I certainly can't. How could I do any less? You know, because he is such a hammy, crappy actor, and he sucked it up, and he was, you know, he laughed and joked right back with him.
Yeah.
So how could I be any less? You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you want to roast us.
Yeah, like I mean, if somebody actually roasted us, I think our reaction would probably be the same. I would hope it would be.
I'd be absolutely honored.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
I was quite honored that someone was actually doing something.
Yeah, you should. I mean,
the first couple of chapters, I was laughing my ass off.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
and then after that,
hilarious.
No laughter.
Yeah.
But so you mentioned earlier that you were writing. You were telling the customers at where you work that you use. I was about to say unoriginal characters. I mean characters from a fandom, but
copyrighted IPs.
A friend of ours on Discord said, if you were rewriting or adapting Angst Much to be an entirely original property, how would you modify it? What would you do?
I don't know, because the story is so sank and centered around ponies.
Yeah. I mean, look at 50 Shades of Grey. All that is a converted fanfic.
Now, there is a story that I wrote. I don't know if you guys seen it or not, called Tiffany Twisted.
I saw the title, never read it.
No. Yeah, basically, I wrote Hotel California. And I
did look at that story. I didn't read it, but I looked at it.
And I've actually had the idea. That's one of the things I want to do, and go back and rewrite it, taking out all the pony elements.
And just make it original.
And just make it Hotel California instead of Hotel California with ponies.
You know, that's kind of a cool idea, because I've talked about this before. You'll hear like concept albums,
right?
Which Hotel California actually is considered a concept album, and you know, obviously it's songs. They can only explain so much of the story. Right. There have been a few people who made concept albums with an accompanying novel. So the idea of writing one for Hotel California is actually really cool.
Yeah, because that was my original idea. I was going to actually write. Because that was my headcanon for years of Hotel California. It's my all-time favorite song. I realized that when I realized one day that I'd been listening to it on loop for 4 hours straight.
You're like, hey, wait a minute. I don't know if I like any song more.
I think I did that was Still Alive once already.
I'm listening for 4 hours and I'm still not pissed off with this song. I must really like this song. But yeah, that was my concept, of the whole idea that he was basically stuck in like purgatory, hell, whatever, being punished in a world where other people being punished, blah blah blah. That's kind of my headcanon for what Hotel California was about. And then I was like, how do I write this? Fuck it, I'm gonna write it with ponies. So,
why not?
So if did you finish that? Did you finish that story?
Yes, that was one of the few that I did finish.
Are you still interested in converting it? Because I'm sure
that'd be
yes,
cool.
I am.
That would be cool.
Yes.
I mean, if you needed an editor, I'd be happy to at least look.
Yeah, I still want to do that, and I still want to put it out there. That way, I can kind of expand outside of my little pony-centric fan fiction.
No,
I would have to put it on fan fiction. I wouldn't be able to put it on film fiction because it's not pony related.
Well, you'd be able to put it on fan fiction too, considering the number of bots they have just putting up random shit on fanfiction.net.
But that's what I'm saying. Fan fiction, I could do it, but film fiction, they would probably reject it because there's no ponies.
Yeah,
but fan fiction, and that's the other thing I'd like to point out. As much as I've been publishing on fanfiction.net, I have gotten more feedback and more fans from fanfiction.net than any other site that I've ever published on.
Yeah.
Almost every single one of my editors has come from fanfiction.net.
And you know what?
Because fanfiction's a much better website.
Yeah, fanfiction is amazing.
It's
as much as I hate the site and I hate the tools that they give us because it's a crap site.
It's the biggest site and it's the worst site.
Because they never update it. It's just the same old design.
Exposure there than anywhere else. So I gotta love it for that.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
I mean, it's big, and that's the only good thing about it. Everything, seriously, no joke. We on a podcast we were talking about different sites and their formats and stuff, and we forgot to mention that fanfiction.net has seriously the best programmed, best design. You can customize your view and all that stuff. Oh, it is beautifully designed.
Yeah.
And if those people would license out that template to other sites, that would be so cool.
Yeah, Nightly does some really good programming.
Yeah.
Although I think him and Seth, for whatever reason, I think Seth told him not to talk to me anymore. Because when I was beta testing, Seth Issu is the guy who does IQ Daily.
Oh.
Me and him kind of have a little thing going on where every time I post anything, he's either talks shit about me or just ignores any post that I give him. I don't know what he has against me, but whatever. But
just salt.
Up until the point where Film Fiction and EQ Daily became partnered, I was actually beta testing Film Fiction, and I was talking on a daily basis and giving feedback to Nightly, the guy who actually writes all the code. Yeah. And he was the original creator of Film Fiction.
Right.
And I was every day I was giving him feedback because I used to do tech support for a living.
Yeah.
Beta testing, it was just my bread and butter. So I know how to write.
Having a tech background gives you that, yeah.
I know how to give proper feedback. And so every single day I was doing this. And just one day he just stopped responding to anything I would send him.
Wow.
And the only thing I could think of is that's right about the time when he became the officially endorsed website of EQ Daily. And I already knew that Seth does not like me.
Wow.
No.
I don't know.
Weird.
But I was like I said, I was getting emails back and forth every day. I was like, this is what I found wrong. This is what you could probably do to fix it, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And he was like, good idea. I'll work on that. And then suddenly everything just stopped. He would not respond to me ever again.
Weird.
You want to hear just a fun fact about fanfiction.net and how shittily it's programmed? So I was in computer science for a few years, and then I switched to math. And when I was talking to my computer science teacher, one of my computer science professors and my advisor, we just hopped on fanfiction.net because I wanted to see if he could explain to me one of the glitches that happens on there. And he showed me that not only he explained how that glitch works, but also he showed me that not only can you can't script inject in your stories, like SQL script inject, because it strips all your angle brackets, but you can do it on your bio page. You can script inject on your bio page. You can script inject on anyone's bio page. Just do it in the search bar. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
It's hard.
I make sure to close all my dangerous tabs while I go to fanfiction.net just for that case.
I mean, that's why I stopped posting all my stuff on my DeviantArt page as well, because I'd have to go through and manually write every bit of formatting. Everything, every freaking line break, every horizontal bar, whatever, I had to manually type it in because it would not import jack shit. Yeah. Whereas FimFiction, I just do import from Google Docs and bam, I maybe have
keeps the formatting
overview and 99% of it's perfect.
Yeah. No. It's a great site.
Just got to strip out all my comments. Well.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah. But next question we have here is... I saw it. I was trying to lead into it.
Okay.
Obviously, you said you enjoyed our riffs, but was there anything in the riffs that you did take issue with? That you were like, maybe they went too
something
far?
We said...
Or we were just wrong?
Because you said 90% of it we were 100% right, which I love that phrasing.
There was a few things that you guys gave me shit about that I'm just like, not going to budge on that, like the a lot thing.
A lot?
Yes. Oh, and how you guys purposely mispronounce things like maybe. It's maybe.
Yeah, but I mean
that's not the spelling of maybe.
That's not the spelling of maybe. When people say maybe, when I hear MAYBE when people say maybe.
Yeah, and I mean outlet is just incorrect. It's lot.
That was one of the things that when I started writing, I tried to write exactly the way people talk. Okay, and that's basically I would hear it in my head, and that's how I'm going to type it out. So that's why I do. A lot of my stuff is like that. Now, mind you, that was one of the things that that I noticed that anyone, the common person will come along and love the way I wrote, but anybody that had ever taken any English classes would immediately flip out and get all pissed off because they realized that what I was doing was grammatically incorrect, or they're like, "This is wrong according to English." I'm like, "Fuck you, I'm American, not English."
Well, I mean, it's more just an English thing because I like Stephen King, and he'll do that a lot, where he'll misspell things to impart, inflection, and accents and stuff. He'll do that all the time, and he'll even do it when he's doing like a stylized narrator, like in the tone of the character, and I don't notice as much there. I think because he does it more, actually. Yeah. So it sort of flavors the whole text. Yeah, like the outlets and maybes just sort of pop up here and there.
I think we took issue with the way Applejack talked when we were reading it because it felt like he was overdoing it just because we had something to compare to.
Yeah.
If we didn't, if Applejack,
everybody can agree I was overdoing it with Applejack.
But I mean, if Applejack had been an original character, I don't think we would have taken issue with that because like Hagrid from Harry Potter has like a ridiculous accent. And you look at it, and everything he says is written in this weird, stylized way. But, like, if he had been based on someone we all knew already, we would all take issue with that. Because it'd be like, hey, that's way too much. But, like, with the other characters, if they say M-E-B-B-E, which I maintain still looks to me like it's pronounced Mebe.
I mean, there's probably people who do say Mebe. I mean, my point was just that with stylized text.
If it's just that, then it's like... how is that accent infused in the rest of what he's saying? Like I said, that's one of the things that I agree on, and almost everyone else that's pointed it out that they all agree, even my fans agree that I did overdo it with Applejack. Yeah, but basically, what I was doing there is I was trying to think, how does my family from West Virginia talk? Yeah. And so I was just hearing their voices in my head and trying to type it out on paper to make it sound the way I heard it. And I did overdo it.
Yeah. I was just making it clear that it wasn't necessarily just an English issue. It's just with stylized dialogue. I feel like there needs to be a bit more.
More would actually. Yeah.
I was actually going by the rule of as long as I'm consistent with it.
Yeah, and when you said that in a comment, you said it's consistently only in the dialogue, and I went back through and I looked, and I was like, yeah, actually, he's right. He's definitely right about that because he never says Mebe as the narrator. The narrator never says it like that. The narrator always says maybe.
Yeah. So it is stylized dialogue. Like I said,
it is stylized dialogue. You're not wrong on that. Yeah, you got that. And if we said at any point that you were doing it every time, then we were just wrong.
Yeah.
But then, kind of on the opposite end of that, Karina Stop on YouTube asked, upon listening to the SDC's commentary, do you think they give accurate critiques, be it in grammar or the content itself? You said 90% of the time you agree.
90% of the time, yes, I agree. 100%, yeah, okay, yes, I screwed this up. There's a few things I'll quibble with. It's like, like I said, a lot. As far as I'm concerned, a lot is the ain't of my age. Okay,
right.
When I was growing up, ain't was not a word. You were not allowed to use that. It's in the dictionary. So, a lot. I've given fool like a lot means something different than a lot, because a lot is a set amount of something. You know, these are sold in lots of 10. How many lots would you like to buy?
No. That's just different use of that word.
Yeah,
is a lot. The way I write it, a lot, all one word, is a unspecified large quantity of something. Okay, that's how I define it, and that's how I use it in my writing.
Well, the reason I disagree with you there is I think it functions the same with or without the space. Whereas "and" is like a whole other word.
Yeah,
I mean it's not just a slightly different spelling.
Yeah.
It's not like I would put like a space.
With "ain't" is that it's a really horrible contraction. It doesn't look anything like "are not." Okay, it's supposed to be a contraction of "are not," and "ain't" just doesn't look anything like its original word. So that's why it was so bad.
Yeah,
but like with the dictionary,
but with "are not" and "ain't," even though they sound and look very different, they're still they still mean the same.
Whereas
thing.
"outlet's" still pronounced, and you can still get the same meaning with or without the space. So I mean, I would just put the space in there because it looks more professional.
My other argument is nobody ever complains when someone uses the word "a lot of this," ALLOTA.
Yeah, because that's stylized speech.
No one ever complains about a lot of something.
But if it was in the narrator's thing, I would say "alida."
Yeah, alida.
Yeah.
That sounds more like stylized. Like when I see,
and that's what we do on the Steel Donut.
Yeah.
Really, they're going to nitpick over that.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's supposed to be for comedy.
Yeah. But, again, like I said, I roll my eyes. I'm like, really. I'm not offended.
And we're not going to crucify you over "alid" or "a lot" or whatever. Yeah.
But the only thing that offends me is freaking like maybe racism. That's about it.
Sure.
You know. Okay, I grew up in a mixed family, so if you're racist, fuck you. Otherwise, it's pretty hard to get to me.
Hey, don't alienate our racist viewers.
We have so many.
Too busy alienating each other.
It's okay. I can say that. I'm brown.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm a quarter Italian. Give me a few more days in the sun. I'll be as dark as you.
Yeah. We have a question on here. What are the differences between Drax the character and Drax the author? But you've already said that Drax the character is kind of your id.
Yeah. He's basically the person I wish I could be. You know, it's my inner voice. You know, there's a lot of things he does that I wish I could do, but I would never do most of that stuff in real life just because I live in real life. Right. And I would probably get my ass stomped if I do half the stuff he tried to do.
Right. And that's a lot of people. A lot of people will be like, I really wish I could do that, but come on, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone feels that to...
Like, I wish I could go bungee jumping. I'm
like I said,
much of a coward.
Yeah.
He's basically the person I'd like to role play online.
Yeah.
I've role played Drax in many different games, many different forums and things like that, but it's not really me. It's just the person I wish I could be.
Yeah. This is such a goofy question.
Do you really want to be a dragon?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
I have been obsessed with dragons ever since. This is how bad it is. I still remember 2nd grade, page 20, chapter, lesson 2 of my freaking spelling book. I saw a picture of a dragon and a unicorn facing off, and I have been obsessed with dragons ever since then.
Who won in the fight?
I don't know.
You don't remember that well.
No,
let's see.
all.
Predator versus magical horn thingy.
Yeah,
sure
magic horn thing.
Yeah. Now, what is interesting
I still think Predator won.
Now, what is interesting is that Drax in the story, when he gets to be a dragon, it's not a very pleasant experience for him.
That's true. Yeah. He becomes a dragon, and pretty much everything is shit during that entire period of his life. I mean, it's like...
I would say that because it's like...
all the dark impulses that he had been trying to deny.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I have my dark side. We all do. And, you know, that little dark voice in the back of our head says, do it, do it, do it. And I'm like, oh, I can't do it. I'll get arrested, or, you know, there'll be too much blood to wash off. You know, but, So
I think there's even a word for that where it's like you think something, it's like, why did I think that? That was awful.
Yeah, I don't know what that word is, but yeah.
That's why I have trouble getting new jobs. I never seem to pass these. Are you an axe murderer? Tests. Because they ask things like, everybody. I believe that everybody lies. Yeah, I believe everybody lies, but I don't because I specifically choose not to lie. But I believe everyone else lies. But those are the kind of stupid questions that they're like, well, if he answers yes, then he must agree with it. No, I don't agree with it. I just think that everyone else does.
Right. It's an honest assessment of what's going on. I think people do lie, yeah. Including myself. I feel like I do lie. Sometimes, maybe.
Sure I never lie about anything. Mm-hmm. Now granted, I know for a fact that I do lie to myself, but that's kind of unavoidable.
Right. Yeah, I mean, even like
I include that in my everybody lies thing.
Exactly. I mean, it's like I try to be as truthful as I can be, but I mean, nobody's perfect. You'll still do things that you'd regret later. Yeah. If everybody could be what they wanted to be, there'd be no regrets.
And then you always look back on your actions and go, "Hang on, I guess I was lying to myself about that."
Yeah.
But like if someone asks me a question, I always try to be 100% truthful, even if it hurts, to a fault. It gets me in a lot of trouble, let me tell you. But that's just how I am. Yeah. At the same time, I do know for a fact, I can't deny that, there's some times in which I say I'm telling the truth, but in the back of my head, my little brain is going, no, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
Because I'm lying to myself. But I'm trying to be as honest as I know it. So when I say I'm telling the truth and that it's not a lie, it's the truth as I know it. Right.
You're doing it.
Or at least the truth as best I know it.
Yeah.
Line from the story.
Line from the story, yeah.
I get annoyed when people they tell me something and they're like, no, I'm lying to you. I'm like, no. Lying implies intent.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
Say something wrong.
Yeah, no, I hear that.
You said something and then you realize you're wrong. That's not a lie. That's
mistakes and lies are two different categories.
Yeah, like I said, I just quote that from the story. It will be the truth, or at least the truth as best I know it.
And the truth as best I know.
Exactly.
So next one was, and this is related to something specifically in the story. In the story, Drax mentions the Green Mother. Can you further explain the belief system around the Green Mother? Is this like an opinion you share, or is this like the character's views? Like, do you share
it's just kind of my headcanon for Fluttershy that she loves animals and all that junk, and that she has the ability to control people. It's just how my headcanon is that she just has that whole mother stern glare, because you notice every time she uses it sounds like shut up phone. Okay. It sounds like a mother chastising a child, and that's how I look at it. At the same time, she has that whole in touch with nature vibe that she gets. I did some ancestry digging, and I traced my family back to freaking Wales. So I definitely got druids somewhere in my family. Okay,
you used to be a whale.
Was it?
He used to be a whale, he said.
Yeah, someone in your family.
A whale?
Bad whale.
Whale
yes. Yeah, whalekin.
Whale.
I don't know about whales. Maybe a whaler.
No, he's singing WALES versus WHALES.
Yeah.
Oh, whale.
The classic bad pun.
Yeah.
I'm being distracted by my phone.
I'm sure Welsh people don't mind.
No, not at all.
But yeah, I traced my family back to 14th century Wales. So, and that place was just basically where the Druids came from.
Yeah.
So I know, and just that plus just some weird things that me and my family seem to be able to do. The whole talk to animals, the animal whisperer crap, that really happens in my family. Like literally, I've watched my little cousin walk up to animals that no one else can touch, pick it up and like half strangle it and carry it around. And all it'll do is just sit there and cluck at them like a chicken. No one can get near these chickens. Pick it up and it'd just be like.
Now, when she's strangling animals, do you try to stop her? Because it sounds like a bad thing.
No, she's not actually hurting the animal, but at the same time, the animal doesn't fight back.
Right.
And, like I said, and that runs in my family. I've had plenty of times in which I walked into somebody's house and I walked up and like, hey, nice puppy, and they're like, that dog doesn't like anybody. I'm like, yeah, well, it's like that. Yeah. And at the same time,
because it's funny when you mentioned it in the story.
Tend to be better with plants, and the females tend to be better with animals. But it kind of crosses over because you can ask anyone in my family. We used to go to me, my dad, my cousin, everyone in my family. We'd go to like dumpsters and buy dead plants and bring them back from the dead. Stuff will grow for us. It's in our family. So I'm like, the only thing I can have to explain it is somewhere, back in the past, we got some druids. Some druids that are like seriously loving nature.
So do you seriously hold those beliefs, or is it sort of like a half joke?
Do you think there's a Green Mother?
Like, do you think the Green Mother exists? Do you think that, like...
Or is that just in the story? Like, that's the gist of the question.
I'd like to think that I have an open mind about it. It's one of those, it could exist. Whether or not I believe it exists, I'm like, it could. But I'm not going to say yes or no.
Okay.
But at the same time, I have a very open mind about that kind of crap. There's just too much stuff that you don't really understand or know.
I see.
So if someone actually brought me scientific proof, I'd still be like, I want to read your notes, but that could be true.
Yeah.
I'm not going to just outright disprove it.
So, yeah, and this sort of ties into the next question. Are you a fan of, or are you part of, like, the New Age movement? Are there any other, like, non-traditional views you're willing to share? Because
I don't know about being part of the movement, but, yeah, I meditate. Sometimes I need my quiet time to sit down.
Sure. I meditate, and I would never consider myself spiritual in any capacity.
Yeah.
But what do you think about, like, homeopathy and crystal healing and stuff like that?
No. I mean, again, I have that little part of my mind that says it could be true, but until I see proof, I'm just going to be open-minded about it. But at the same time, no, I'm not a 100% believer. I mean, I was raised Roman Catholic, and then I read way too much of the Bible and realized that a lot of the stuff that the Roman Catholics follow isn't actually in the Bible. It's just like somebody said, this is what I think they mean. Well,
Catholicism is almost separate from Christianity. It's
basically
so
where
different.
All the different Christian sects came from. Everyone read the book and says, I don't think it means this. I think it means this. And then a new sect was formed. So I don't really follow any set religion. I'm open-minded to pretty much all religions. And I kind of like pick and choose, like, this looks like it might be plausible. This probably happened. I'm pretty sure that they meant this. But at the same time, everything's open to discussion as far as I'm concerned.
That's fair. Yeah, that's a fair perspective, yeah. Actually, I will say this. We've got a list of questions here, but you're actually answering some of our questions before we even get to them.
So
I'm awesome like
that. So in one of our conversations in the comment section, you did mention the movie What Dreams May Come, the Robin Williams film, which is a fantastic movie.
Yeah, great movie.
But in it, you also add that Drax is a lucid dreamer who doesn't realize it yet. And I'm curious if you can kind of explain to me how that works with, like, given
especially
what
going
happens
to his dark side. Yeah.
Given what happens with his dark side, because if he's a lucid dreamer,
he basically somehow got into the afterlife without actually dying. Okay, because what dreams may come is basically the afterlife. People die.
I mean, it's based on Dante's Inferno.
They create their afterlife. They create their own afterlife based on what they believe and what they think and stuff. Somehow he got in there without actually having died himself. But at the same time, because he's a real person in a fake world, he has, admin controls.
Yeah. The Celestia, she died.
He basically has admin access in this freaking world, whereas the world was created by Celestia. Her mind and her thoughts, when she died, created the world. Somehow he got in and somebody tagged him with admin access, and no one's really sure, including him, is not really sure how or why he got those powers. Right. Just somehow he got them without dying himself.
So you don't have a reason in your head why he got those powers?
No. It's just one of those. It
happened to happen.
Yeah, it happened, and
it's a mystery that stays a mystery.
Yeah, it's the mystery of the universe.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me turn off my phone. Yeah, it's all my gaming. They're all like probably are.
Actually, early on, I got an email or something, and I realized I hadn't muted my phone either. Professionals.
Yeah. My phone's always on vibrate.
This is why we make millions of dollars on Patreon.
Yeah.
We don't have a Patreon.
We don't have Patreon.
Not yet.
I got one. I have yet to have anyone actually go there.
Oh. Link in the description. So, okay, so this is a question Connor had.
It's a really good question.
It's a great question. In any of the dreams that inspired any of the sections of the story, because you said the first part of the story was one dream, second part was another dream, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, when he woke up in Chapter 8 from Celestia screaming, that's when I actually woke up in real life.
Okay.
And then everything else was a bunch of other dreams up until I think it was like Chapter 13, and then the rest of it was stuff I actually wrote myself. Okay. That actually wasn't in dreams. It's just trying to finish.
Where things kind of take a turn and there's actually a a fight between the two characters.
When it got really dark, I'm like, all right, I got to make this interesting now.
Yeah.
So you guys even mentioned that, suddenly now things are actually happening. That's because I was actually writing.
Yeah, yeah. Chapter 13 is when the plot starts.
Yeah.
But in any of your dreams, was there content that got cut? Were there any parts of the dreams that never made it to paper? And if you remember any of those parts, why didn't they make it in? I mean, it was 6 years ago, so...
8.1.
Chapter 8.1?
Yeah.
You want to share some deets?
Yeah. Drax and
Steel
Pinky.
Donut gets the inside scoop.
I wasn't writing that.
What happened?
Drax and Pinky? I wasn't writing that.
Oh, I see. Didn't Kinkie Pie end up writing that?
I really do not like being looked at or labeled as a cop writer. So after writing 2 chapters, I'm like, that's my limit. I'm not writing anymore.
Yeah, no, it is interesting because someone did write an Angst Much side story.
Yeah.
It was Kinkie Pie on Deviant. Link in the description.
Based off my stories.
Yeah, I found that once. I was like, an Angst Much side story?
Yeah. That was a little bit...
I've actually had quite a few side stories. I have one guy who not only wrote a whole side story, he went through and did a live reading of one of my stories. And the really creepy part was when I watched the live reading, I'm like, he looks like me. It was scary. It was. I had been corresponding with this guy for months, and then he posted a video, and I'm like, he even has the same fan sitting behind him. Yeah, it's creepy.
Does he have the same Alvin and the Chipmunks poster as we do, though?
No. All my posters are in the closet, so.
I'm not going to explain that for you. But
there's a story behind that poster.
There's a story behind the poster. A whole set of stories. A month's worth of stories. Now I've explained.
Yeah.
So what I was going to ask was... what I was going to say was... we were actually joking before the interview that if Connor's voice for Drax the character was what you sounded like, I was just gonna shit myself. Like if you talked like that, I was just gonna die on camera.
If I sounded like that, I would shoot myself.
You know, I know a guy who
like
sounds
that.
like that.
Hey, I knew a guy who
Nobody should sound like that.
Yeah, he's just.
But then we have actually another question from Connor.
Yeah.
What parts of the story were you most worried about? I don't know. I can't read this.
What parts of the story
were you most worried about? What we
were like half asleep. It was like 2 a.m. when we were compiling all the last questions last night.
I should just do what I was doing earlier, just read it and ghost whisper it. So, what parts of the story were you most worried about in our coverage?
Translate this from asleep to English, please.
The porn.
The porn? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that was mostly just,
I'm proud of it. I put it in there because it was in the story, but at the same time, I tried to go out of my way as far as possible and not have people have to read it. So,
and we labeled each of those chapters as explicit, and then we actually got chapter 5 removed from YouTube.
Removed it. We had to appeal it.
Yeah, somebody flagged it, and we even suspected you might have flagged it. But
it wasn't me. I mean,
no, and now I definitely know it wasn't you. You're
after all these years, like I said, I give no fucks, but at the same time, it's not one of my prouder moments, which is why I didn't write any more like that. I don't like being labeled as a cop writer. I've actually had people send me messages saying, "Will you please write some cop stories for my characters?" They want me to write cop stories of their characters and stuff. I'm like, I'm not a cop writer. I'm like, yes, you are. I'm like, no, no.
Yeah.
That's like saying Stephen King is a plumber because he unclogged a toilet once.
Exactly.
Fuck you, leave him alone.
Can I write cop? Yes. Do I want to write cop?
No. Yeah. No. And
I mean, those are probably the funniest to read, honestly, because like the porn scenes, because sex scenes kind of have like an intrinsic comedy to them.
I find them really uncomfortable to read, and I can see how somebody might find it really. Actually, we have a question about this later. Somebody might find it funny to watch us be uncomfortable because of a sex scene, but a lot of people will send in sex scenes that are just sex, and a lot of that stuff is like...
Well, I mean, if it's... well, the reason why I find them to be pretty funny in, like, the fan fiction world is a lot of times they're not very well written.
Yeah, they're absurdly weird.
There's just this... There's something about reading something that the writer intends to be arousing, and it's not.
That is
like there's like an immediate comedy to that.
I've had a few of those where like I just laugh my ass off watching it, Like hell, most of the time when I watch real porn, I'm laughing my ass off.
Actually, for real, and this is
it doesn't do anything else for me, to be honest.
This should be a secret, but for some reason I tell the whole world.
Yeah.
But when I'm watching porn or reading a hentai, the only thing I can jack it to is the plot. I can't jack it to the sex. Once I get there, I just back out.
Bob unfiltered.
Yeah, no, I'm just like, yeah. Oh, wait, no, they're actually gonna... Like, I have to see this terrible acting, like, oh, I'm here to fix your pipes and whatnot. Like, that's the part I like.
Yeah.
I think I've been doing Steel Donut too long.
Maybe.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, that's it. That's interesting. Okay, we have another question about the sex scenes later on. But one thing I do want to ask you about was, in the final author's note of the epilogue, you mentioned, and at the time the viewers are seeing this, chapter 6 or the epilogue will be out on our channel, but you haven't seen it because we haven't finished editing that video yet. But you mentioned that there are sites that didn't accept Angst Much.
Yeah.
What do you know? What sites?
Obviously, EQD hates me.
Sure. Okay, that makes sense now.
I've only once ever gotten something published there, which was A Clever Pony. If you've ever read that one, I get a lot of accolades for that one. People love it. I hate the way I ended it. It was like literally I'd been writing it for 3 weeks, and I just was tired of writing it. So I was like, the end. But yeah. And, but other than that, everyone seems to love it, and but they will not touch Angst Much. And even worse is they made fun of me. While they basically, I gave a story idea. And then someone else wrote a story similar to what I wrote. And then while they were announcing here's the stories we're publishing, they were making fun of some of the concepts in my story, like the whole pheromones thing. And they were making fun of me. But I'm like, but look at the story you just published that's got the same shit. Yeah. People were liking him because because he was magical. Okay? People liked him because he smelled nice. How is that any different? But yet, in the description, EQD actually made fun of me. They didn't call my name, but they described my story. And
wow.
I've been
sounds like that dude is heckin' salty.
No, call him Morton because he's salty.
Yeah, what the heck?
Yeah, so, and like I said, ever since then, I will basically, when I publish something, I'll send them a link and don't even bother reading their response because I know they're going to say no. So I've had a story when I started writing, and they rejected it because Trixie was out of character. No. Well, no shit. It's a freaking fan fiction. Everything is out of character.
No. So, was it any other sites or was it just EQD?
Well, EQD was the biggest one. I don't even know what. Now I can't think of it. Where else did I? That's about the only place I ever published it. Of course, DeviantArt doesn't give. Yeah. As long as there's not explicit porn there and you got to literally have pictures of porn happening.
But you can still do that on DeviantArt since...
You can do it as long as there's not actual porn happening according to their rules. Like,
I've seen actual porn on DeviantArt.
But if there is like genital on genital, they're like, no. But that's only if somebody reports it, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it'll just happen otherwise.
Yeah, they'll just block it or whatever. Anyway, I think that Film Fiction, I think originally it got kicked from Film Fiction, but then, I wrote my author's note and they're like, oh, okay. And then let me back in.
Okay. So,
but yeah, I don't remember where else I actually posted it to be honest.
Yeah.
So, just a curiosity question.
It's been a while.
We have a question here about...
Well, this is a kind of slightly different section of the interview because I'd like to go through chapter by chapter, just going through some of these,
Yeah,
just like a one question per chapter kind of thing. No, we've got like one question per chapter.
Yeah,
one question.
And some of these you've already answered, so...
Yeah. Yeah, so chapter 1, this is a pretty short question. It's about a specific phrase. At the end of the chapter, the character says, "Hell, it's about time." And we're just wondering, it was about time for, like what? Like, what was, he's like, it's about time I, made it into a question.
It's about time that I actually stopped being a little geeky dweeb and became a buff badass.
Ah.
So was he expecting that? Or was he hoping for it?
It was one of those, always wish I could be a badass, now I am.
So he's like, it's about time, like, karma gave me something back.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Okay.
Gave me a return on my investment.
I've been alive all this time and nothing good happened to this.
Yeah.
I'm still a chunky monkey. All right, so yeah, we got a viewer question, kind of about this a little bit.
Yeah, from Woos.
Yeah, from Woos. How much was Drax's backstory and abilities based on your own life?
I assume you probably can't like turn yourself into a horse dragon. But if you can't do it, it'd be really cool.
If you could do that on camera,
his beliefs and stuff is based on shit that's happened to me, like being in the furry fandom, obviously.
Yeah.
Being a nerd, being picked on in school and shit like that. So yeah, some of those angsty things like that. That's shit that really happened to me growing up. But that's about it, Again, like I said, he was kind of the guy I wish I could be, but it's not going to happen because I live in real life.
Right.
Yeah.
At one point, Drax when he's describing his backstory, he says something about his parents being abusive, and then immediately turns around and says his parents weren't abusive.
Or they were average.
Or they were average. Yeah, he says...
My mom loved me. My dad beat me whenever he got a chance.
Really?
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So that's not average.
Again,
that was the part that was wrong.
One of the weird dichotomies that is my life. My mom remarried to a racist black man who, for whatever reason, married a white woman. So I was raised by a very angry black man.
That sounds like a Chappelle Show skit.
Yeah, it was kind of like that. And then everyone will immediately ask you, well, then why did he marry a white woman? I'm like, fuck if I know. But yeah, he basically talked shit about white people my entire life growing up, whenever he had a chance, whenever he had an excuse. Wow. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I had to learn to control my anger issues as a kid. It's because anytime I showed any anger, that was just another excuse for him to whoop my ass.
Yeah.
And he was a 9th-degree black belt. So you can imagine how those went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty unfortunate.
Okay,
I mean, there's really not much to say.
Yeah, there we go.
Really, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry that happened to you. Yeah,
so I had a rough childhood, which is why I've learned to deal. That's why I am not a special snowflake. Yep. And, my life sucked. I learned to suck it up and deal with it. Because if not, I got my ass kicked.
Yep.
Nobody handed me shit. Nobody was all like, "Oh, we're sorry. Your life sucks." They're like, "Your life sucks. Shut up and sit down."
Yeah. It happens.
You're hyper. Sit down, take some pills, and shut up. You got a problem with this? I'll whoop your ass, and then you're gonna deal with it. No, none of this crap that they give kids today. No timeout, no little time alone. None of that hell. I got my ass beat whenever I did something wrong, or they thought I did something wrong, whether it was my fault or not. That was the world that I grew up in.
Would you raise a kid today that way?
What's that?
Would you raise a kid that way today?
Hell yes! Like just yesterday. I'm watching some little kid at the store just screaming her head off. I'm like, seriously, whoop her ass and get it over with. I'm tired of hearing her scream. I will give you my belt. You ever watch Boondocks?
No.
Remember the scene? Grandpa pulls off the belt and's like, here you go, you can use mine.
Yeah.
That's me. Oh, man, I want to do that so often in their life. Because honestly, my mom grew up, the last thing you wanted to do was embarrass her. She would like, you want me to give you something to cry about? No.
Yeah.
Shut me up. It worked. And I learned to only cry when it was necessary. Hurt when something really, really bad happened. I didn't cry because I didn't get my way.
No.
Like, if you don't get your way, guess what? That's life. Deal with it.
Yeah. Moving on to chapter 2.
This is another kind of like sort of throwaway question about a phrase, but I mean, it's something we're genuinely curious about, actually.
Yeah, this is something I'm trying to wrap my head around and I really don't know.
At one point in the chapter...
So Twilight is looking right at Drax, the character's Wangamaru, to use the polite term for it.
Oh, yes. And she says...
She says, you're not,
And he says, oh, no, this is normal. But like, we were always curious, like, how that sentence would end. Like, what is he not?
Basically, it's. I was going with the whole mental image of most animals have a sheath or their shit's not hanging out all the time.
Sure. A dog or
so
a horse or something.
She looks at that and sees it's hanging out, and there's either one of two things: either he's aroused or there's something horribly wrong with him.
No.
So was the sentence finished? You're not aroused, are you?
Something like that.
Probably something like that. It's just like I tried.
In like 15 seconds, he's about to be.
I actually
and then she doesn't recognize a boner.
Well, she may not because she's a little sheltered, but at the same time, yeah.
But she was just asking him, "You're not
No.
I honestly don't remember. I'd have to go back and look.
By the way, since this interview is going really well, I think at this point we should definitely take a moment to take just a still frame where we look really angry and you look really angry, so we can put it in the thumbnail. Is that cool? Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Okay, we'll take some of that. Yeah, okay, we'll use that for the thumbnail. All right, so yeah, I'm sure the people will appreciate us saying that right here.
Yeah.
Because I'm not editing. I don't think we're probably editing most of this out.
No.
Probably just keep this uncut.
Unless we take a break or something, which honestly would be a bad idea.
Yeah.
Longer, bigger, uncut.
Oh yeah. So you mentioned this at the earlier in the interview, and also in your comment on Chapter 2, you described yourself as dyslexic. You actually said a dyslexic, which I've never heard anyone use the word dyslexic that way, as a noun, like a demonym rather than just an adjective. But I mean, I can see people using it.
I guess it could be valid. Yeah, I am one of those people that is dyslexic or a dyslexic.
Right.
I've heard people say I'm a diabetic, so I think it's
no. I don't think I don't think that's incorrect. I just never hear it that way because I don't know that many dyslexic people. It never really comes up. But are you diagnosed dyslexic, or is that like a self-diagnosis, or is that just
It's kind of a self-diagnosis. Trust me, I've seen all the signs, and I just like the whole new spectrum. Everyone's a little bit differently, affects them differently, sure. And me, it quite often affects my typing. It also affects my ability to read. I will read. That's why I can read things upside down and backwards. I just sometimes don't realize what I'm doing it because my brain reads the whole chunk at one time, and not word by word. And so I sometimes will write like that and have to go back and fix it.
Yeah.
Because I don't realize it. And that's one of the reasons why I really need editors because they'll point out, why did you write it like this? Oh yeah, sorry, I wrote it backwards.
Yeah.
But the worst part is, like I said, it comes out mostly when I'm typing. I will literally type words wrong, or not so much backwards, but for some weird reason, my brain superimposes the words FOR and the letters GET. So I forget. So when I go to type FOR, for whatever reason, my brain will type GET. And the worst one, especially being in an IT field, is I keep swapping the letter C and the letter S. It's really bad when you type hard disk a lot.
Yeah.
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 And like I said, with the typing, it's where it comes out the most, but it also affects the way I read as well.
Sure.
But at the same time, I've learned to use it, which is why I read so fast. I don't read word for word. I don't read linearly. I read chunks of text.
Paragraph.
Yeah, exactly. My brain just processes it all at once.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if words are misspelled, a lot of times won't even notice it.
See, that sounds
translate.
That sounds actually very much like a speed reading technique that I learned back in high school, which was it started out the way they teach it to you. You start off by first you meditate to kind of clear your mind, and then you're told to look at a paragraph and then on a paper write out a network of how the words connect to each other, and then start little by little drawing less and less of that network until you're doing it all in your head. And so when I'm trying to speed read, I look at the thing and I try to network it. And so it sounds like that's basically what you're doing too.
Yeah.
And
my brain
my technique is I just read really quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. On my brother's technique is to not read at all.
Yeah.
So that's my brother's technique.
Yeah.
He has it to where whatever reason he will look at a word and just whatever word with he'll look at the first letter of the word, and then whatever word pops into his head with that's what he'll say. I'm like, that doesn't even look like what that word is. That's just that's his.
My brother's so he'll admit this. He's so he hates reading so much that if you go to a restaurant, he will order the first thing he sees on a menu just because he doesn't want to have to read the rest of the menu.
See, that's the great thing about Denny's. That's where all the stoners and the drunks go, because you can order everything on the menu by pointing at the picture.
Yeah. See, I'm not a drunk or a stoner, but I love Denny's.
Good old Denny's.
Can I just get one of everything on the menu? Yeah. Just put on a big plate and just slosh it around?
The Super Slam.
The Super Slam. Yeah. That's what it's called, yeah. All right, so...
which is funny, because your shirt says up all night. That used to be one of their mottos.
Sleep all day.
Up all night, sleep all day, yeah.
Yeah.
My shirt says nothing.
Whoa. Deep.
It's a nihilist shirt.
What does your shirt say?
Mine?
Yeah.
Chrysalis.
Oh, that's a pretty cool shirt.
Yeah, we love Fine Sells these. They get a whole series for each of the main characters. Just look up cool. Mythical, whatever. Like I had Mythical Discord, it disappeared. I got Mythical. I want to get Twilight. I had Nightmare Moon, and then this one is Chrysalis.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really awesome art stuff. I especially like the Discord one because when it's done like this, it just looks like a drag on the shirt. People that don't know the show, we're like, awesome shirt, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unfortunately, that shirt kind of disappeared at BronyCon last year, so.
Oh, well.
Need to buy another one this year.
Should have stayed out of the pool.
Okay, so chapter 3.
It's creepier than that. I was living with an entire room full of gay guys, and I was the only straight one there. So the fact that my shirt disappeared, extra creep factor.
Hey, well, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know where you're going with this.
I just gave him the old 2-eye wink. I had nothing else. That's when you're being extra sneaky. You don't wink with one eye. You wink with two.
Yeah.
Touch my ass.
Yeah, exactly.
That's basically my policy on transgenders, gays, whatever. Do your thing, just don't touch mine.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so you want to read this one? I'm tossing this one to you.
Okay. Well, so chapter 3. We don't have a question here about the sex, actually. So if anybody was hoping for one, sorry.
The answer is sex happened. Period. Done.
Right. You start with a very new agey sounding massage, warming your hands, your visual
transmitting warmth into people.
Transmitting warmth into people, being able to see with your hands, and your visual center not processing your sight with your eyes. Is this based on your life?
I don't know about it being new age, but yeah, I can feel. I'm very sensitive hands. I can touch stuff, and like literally, I'm one of those people that close my eyes, stick my hand in a bag, and I can find exactly what I'm looking for. But if my eyes are open, I have trouble finding it.
Because can you literally visualize what you're feeling?
Yes. Yeah. It's not that hard. I mean, ask anyone that has sight impairment. That's what they do half the time. But at the same time, like I was saying, I close my eyes and I can better visualize in my head what I'm touching.
Yeah,
but I mean, I'm distracted, and it doesn't work.
Yeah, I think most of us can do that. It might just be like the description made it sound like it was like a superpower.
Yeah, it made it sound like magic.
I feel something.
Anyone can do it. You just, it becomes a little. You become better at it the more often you practice it. It's
right.
Not that different.
Yeah, it's not that crazy. Yeah. Then here's a question from Discord user Zaxers. She said, "Why did you develop so much chemistry between Drax and Twilight Sparkle when he ends up with Pinkie Pie?"
Because him and Twilight Circle, they really hit it off.
They really hit it off, and throughout the story, we see a lot of their chemistry, and we don't actually see a ton of him and Pinkie Pie's chemistry.
Part of it was, let me say, part of it was that at the time I really had a crush on Twilight. Hell, there's a reason why adorkable's in the dictionary now.
Is it really?
Yes, it is. Wow. Look it up. Like last year they put it in the web
description.
This
is just going to be a series of links in the description.
I'm pretty sure there's probably a picture of Twilight there. Yeah. And so, I had a crush at the time. And like I said, I was writing the story as my id did it. And somewhere in the middle of the Pinkie Pie scene, my brain realized I like Pinkie Pie more. And then I finished writing it, and I'm like, damn it, I got a crush on Pinkie Pie now. Fuck! Yeah. I think that developed a thing with Pinkie Pie.
So is Pinkie your favorite?
At first, no. But,
because I find her absolutely great.
I can relate to her more than I can relate to any of the others, and I think that's the reason why I kind of developed a thing for her. So kind of, sort of, she is one of my favorites, but it's really hard to pick because I can point at any of the main characters and point out something in that character that is just like something in me. I think that's why the show is so good. It's because the characters are so relatable. You can see yourself in almost every one of the characters at some point or another.
Well, that's because most of them...
for the longest time. And then I watched the episode where she actually was making dresses and running her shop for her friends, and the shit that they drug her through to try to, do good customer service. And I'm like, I understand that all too well working retail.
Well, and I mean,
suck.
Yeah, and I mean, part of the reason why you can see yourself in almost any of the characters is they tend to have one overwhelmingly dominant character trait. Like it's even in the idea of them being an element of something. Like they have one thing that defines them more than anything else.
And at the same time, they also have flaws as well. So that's, again, they're more human and relatable than most cartoons. Most cartoons are an absolute ideal, and whereas they have both flaws and, what's the other word? Not flaws.
Anti-flaws.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I will say at this point, obviously I want to turn to an argument. I think most of those flaws are things that can be read in almost any characters. I really don't think they're as complex as, or more complex than any other characters. You could find a lot of the same things in other characters if you looked. So I don't see that as much, but I just want to throw it out there as my opinion.
To like other cartoon characters. You know, most cartoon characters don't have as many flaws as the characters in this show. They're not as written as in depth. You know, they'll either have one really big flaw or one really big, gift, but they don't have as many layered flaws and not quite as relatable. And like I said, that's one of the appeals of the show. You know, you watch SpongeBob, and his main flaw is he's really freaking stupid, but you don't really see anything else. You know. Yeah. Whereas you'll see multiple little layers and more humanity in these characters.
So I don't think I entirely agree, but that's just
difference of opinion.
Yeah,
I haven't really watched the show enough to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, The Big Lebowski is my favorite movie.
It's a good movie.
Yeah. We actually named our dog after. He's named Lebo.
Yeah.
Lebowski.
Nice.
Lebo. He's a good dog. So. In Chapter 4, you kind of talked about this a little bit before, but how does... So, your ability with plants, how does that work? You said you could bring plants back from the dead.
Well, I don't know about dead, but, I have many times with me, my cousin, my dad, and many other people on my dad's side of the family gone to the dumpster, found plants that were completely dried up and dead, and within a week, they're growing, and they're loving life. It's just something that runs in my family. We can always make anything grow.
So would you describe that as that's a green thumb then?
Yeah.
So you're
thumb.
Not like a grass groper, or like a forest finger banger.
No dendrophilia.
Okay.
I have been known to hug trees, but that's about as far as it goes. We're just friends.
No, I gotcha. I will say, with the dumpster thing, is that just an example, or did they just go dumpster diving for plants specifically?
That's also another question I have.
Yeah, just for plants, because you got, like my dad, he went to frickin' JCPenney and found what would have potentially been a $500 Japanese maple. It was just a twig sticking out of a pot of dirt. Took it home, and within 6 months, this thing was alive and thriving. But if you were to go and buy one from a nursery, you're going to pay $500 for that plant.
Why did JCPenney's dumpster have a...
Probably because it was dying.
Because they thought it was
Why did
dead.
they have one at all?
Who knows? I mean, if it's attached to a mall, they could have had, a
I guess that's true, yeah.
Somewhere. I've never seen a JCPenney by itself.
So they may not have been selling it for $500, but if you were to go to a nursery, that's what you'd pay.
See,
these little red Japanese maples are really expensive, and they take forever to grow.
And I actually know exactly what you're talking about, because at one point we had a lot of maple trees spring up in our yard, and we tried to sell them, and people kept messaging us, "Are these Japanese maples?" And it's like, no, they're just maple trees.
Yeah.
Why would we be selling these for $5? Just to clear our yard if they were really rare maples.
Yeah.
So weird. My point is Japanese maples. I know.
So moving on to Chapter 5. This is a question that we all were all talking about, and I think this is a good question. Connor asked this last night. And you kind of answered this already. Are the sex scenes supposed to be erotic, or are they just descriptions of what happened in the dream?
No.
Or both?
Basically, it's just descriptions. Because the whole time I was typing it out, I was trying not to laugh. Like I said, I don't find...
So you did it because it was in the dream?
Yeah.
Yes.
Not
yes.
Not like...
Oh man, I really gotta write this. This is the best thing ever.
Like I said, I'm not proud of it, and I didn't really want, but I was like, I felt it needed to be in there for completeness sake.
Yeah.
So,
because it would be very strange. It would be very strange for the sequence to go, "Hi, Twilight Sparkle. Nice to meet you. Okay, Rarity showed up. Now let's go to a spa. Now let's walk home."
Yeah.
That'd be a little weird.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that makes total sense with why the Pinkie Pie seemed to get written, because it was just like, I did it the first 2 times.
I did enough.
Yeah.
I'm done with this. Yeah.
That's how I felt. I was like, no, I'm not doing it.
Have you? So I think, like we said before, I think Pinkie Pie wrote the 8.1, right?
Yeah.
Have you read that?
Yes.
Did you like it?
I edited it.
How'd you feel about that?
I edit all the stuff she writes, so yeah.
So without destroying your friendship with her, how'd you feel about that? Was it weird?
I laughed my ass off. Because honestly, most stuff that I read, it's supposed to be porn, I find hilarious.
That's what I was talking about earlier. Where
that used to be a thing that me and my friends would do, is we'd get drunk, we'd turn on porn, turn off the volume.
And dump in your own words?
We would add what was going on, and it was hilarious.
Oh, it's the best, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've done that with my friends once or twice, but nobody else seems to enjoy it as much as I do. Maybe we should hang out. This is, by the way, just so you know, this is also your entrance interview as the 6th member of the Steel Donut.
Yeah. Update that banner.
Yeah. Gosh, that would be weird.
Yeah.
Levy asked this question, and I'm really curious about this, given your answers, your previous answers. Who was your intended audience for the story, and did the intended audience change at any point?
I really didn't have it into. Like I said, at the time I was writing it, it was
just
like
a transcription.
It was an obsession. I just needed to get it out of my head so I could get on with my life.
So, once it was written, you thought, might as well upload.
It was like an earworm,
Yeah.
It just kept running in my head over and over again. I typed it out. I got about 6 or 7 chapters in. I'm like, you know what? I should publish this somewhere.
Yeah.
So I put it on, fanfiction.net. I put it on 1 or 2 other places, and and it blew up. Not customers. Fans started reading it and sending me all these freaking messages. I'm like, wow, people like this. I'm like, okay, yes, why not? But I really just was doing it for my own use.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So,
that makes sense.
It was catharsis.
What now?
Did we miss a question?
I don't think so. Did we?
No.
No. Hereditary ability, sex scenes, yeah.
Did we actually read that one?
What, the hereditary ability?
Yeah.
Or sex scenes?
Oh, no, we did.
We did talk about the plant, the trees and the maples.
See how professional we are.
Yeah.
So, so the next one was a question about chapter 6.
Yeah.
It says, and in the chapter you say, or the character says.
Quote, it says, you said that in ancient times, people were gifted with extra sight. They saw the world differently, and some had the gift of prophecy. They were often treated as holy seers and sometimes worshipped. On my world, they call it autism, OCD, bipolar, and many less polite things. You want to explain that a little bit? Because
I'd say that's kind of not so much a belief; it's kind of a headcanon. I've seen a lot of people who I believe that a lot of people throughout history who were seen as seers just had their brain wired differently.
Right. I will say that.
So would you say that? I don't like
to say wrong. I don't say that there's something wrong with them. It's just different. Like me myself, I think differently than other people.
Sure.
And that's all.
That's what makes us unique.
Nowadays they're trying to put labels on everything. They're calling people autistic and retarded and whatever else they want to call them. It's just their brain. They see the world a little bit different.
I mean, keep in mind that these labels aren't negative things. They're a
medical diagnoses. Yeah.
So that way we have
some of them are medical, but either way they're labeled.
I mean,
and it's basically that's man's desire to control things by naming it, and it's just our nature. And sometimes the labels are good, sometimes the labels are bad, but it's just they want to control what they don't understand by putting a name on it.
Yeah. I wouldn't entirely agree that it's about control, because I mean it's like if you look at like the species of animals, if you had no names for any of those stages,
it'd be real hard,
impossible to organize anything.
Yeah.
So I'd say that maybe it's partially that. It could also be just for organization.
And also, my parents were both psychiatrists, so I have kind of a I don't have any expertise in mental health, of course, but I also I'm familiar with the mindset of a psychiatrist who's just trying they give a name to these things not because they're trying to ostracize people, but because they're trying to group symptoms in a way that helps people. Like, once you find out what someone has or why they have it or how they work, what they're thinking, like, if it's harming themselves or other people, then we can try to treat it.
Like
but if it's not hurting anybody, then it's just a quirk. It's not a disorder.
Yeah, and without giving up too much personal information, like one of my cousins has several learning disabilities that are some more severe than others, but they genuinely impact his ability to learn and especially interact with people. Like, he'll get angered really easily, and because these, we're able to realize, hey, this person has, similar symptoms, similar, things as him.
Right.
They're able to help him learn and do stuff. So there's negatives and positives, but I wouldn't say it's all.
I wouldn't say it's about control.
Well, right. Well, from a medical standpoint, then you're categorizing and diagnosing. But those labels aren't always given by medical professionals.
Sure.
Absolutely.
I use the word
that's
retard.
Yeah, that's why you don't call people retarded and things
exactly.
like that.
The labels aren't always, polite or given by. If you go to a psychiatrist, he's going to say you seem to be having this symptoms. It looks like you might have this problem and this problem. But you're out in public. They're not going to have that kind of expertise to say is wrong. They're just going to say, "What the hell is wrong with your kid? Tell them to shut the fuck up." Why are you such a retard? Stop being so stupid. That's average person is going to give you labels. It's still going to be labels. They just may not.
They're just using them wrong. And I actually have a question. So you said that the Holy Seers. This is your headcanon, right? But I understand that perspective, not just being a headcanon, but also being like an opinion on the real world. Like, you look at the Oracle at Delphi, and you say, we don't know much about what the Oracle at Delphi was really like because we weren't there, and there's not great historical writing about the objective, definitely this is the facts, but we can draw some conclusions from habits, and like with the Mayas using ayahuasca tea and things like that. But my question is, do you think it's that holy people or like actual magic exists and those things get labeled as autism, or that autism gets labeled as actual magic?
I was about to ask
which way does it go?
Because it says,
like, honestly, I think it's a little column A, a little column B.
Okay.
I have, like I said before, I'm open-minded, and I believe there is room for things we haven't discovered or explained yet. So there may be magic.
Right.
But at the same time, we just haven't found a way to quantify and prove or disprove it.
Sure.
So until you can prove or disprove, I'm like, could be, could not be, whatever.
Sure.
Yeah.
Although I will say that a lot of people will take the viewpoint that if you can't prove or disprove something, feel free to just believe anything, and that's not always the most wise approach. It's like, we don't know if magic exists or not, so I'm just going to guess it exists.
Right.
Some people take that approach.
Blind guesses.
And me, I'm like, it could exist, it could not exist, but until then, I'm just open-minded,
Right. And, like, my perspective is really, like, and I don't know why I'm even...
I don't believe in absolute.
No, who cares?
My thing is I don't believe in absolute. So the people that say, yes, this is 100% the truth, I'm like, you know what?
They're the ones who are immediately escorted out of the conversation.
Exactly.
They're the ones who you can't talk to.
Yeah.
Like, they're the ones who you can't convince.
Discussion or, or conversation. They're like, this is how it is, and there's nothing else. I'm like, well, then the conversation's over.
Right. You've just killed it.
Yeah. Exactly. And I mean, like I said, my main point is just that it's more useful to sort of not believe something until it is proven.
Right.
Because if you don't do that, then anything could be true.
Right.
And it doesn't give you...
I mean, that's basic skepticism.
It's just skepticism. It doesn't give you a base.
It's like Bermuda Triangle. We have a lot of proof that something weird's going on there. But we have yet to find one theory that says what's actually going on. Right. There's a lot of theories.
So it's just an open question.
Exactly.
I mean, unless something's happened that the three of us have not heard about.
Yeah. And so, and I would say that until, there is definitive proof that something there is happening there, we can chalk it up to a lot of people who have just had bad accidents there.
Yeah.
And then once we find out it's something, then we can throw that away.
I mean, there's one or two things that they've discovered that cover 90% of what's happened.
Like the gas bubbles rising and stuff like that.
That covers like 90% of what's happened, but we don't really know for sure because there's no verifiable proof,
Yeah. Sorry, there's a fly in my room.
Yeah.
We were saying maybe we should take a break. I think we should take a break and get like another drink and stuff.
Yeah, I have to use the bathroom, stuff like that.
Yeah, you're out, I'm out. and I have to go pee as well.
Yep,
so
just leave the recording running and be quick.
Yeah, let's just leave the recording running and be quick. And
okay,
we're like most of the way through the question.
Yeah, we have maybe like 20 left.
Not 20,
okay.
like 10, 15 maybe.
Oh yeah. So
okay, so yeah, if you want to go do your thing, and we'll be right back. Yeah.
Be right back.
Cool.
20 minutes later.
And we're back from our
little break, our siesta
break. Yeah.
And we're just gonna get right back into it with the next question.
So we were talking about. We were on chapter 6. So moving on, chapter 7 is where everybody meets, like Drax, and Rarity gets to meet Drax. I think that's where. No, yeah. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, they meet.
Drax and Rarity don't have.
They don't seem to have.
They don't seem to have any animosity.
During their first meeting, and then of course later though they end up
having kind of she's like, I've always mistrusted you kind of thing.
She dislikes him for what he is. Was that something that sort of developed later, or was she just masking it?
We've all met those people that I'm not racist. I got nothing against you, but you ain't dating my friend. She's one of those people. She was perfectly fine with him until he started
okay. Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's actually pretty much answered a quick question right there.
Yeah, there you go. So then, okay. Well, Ancient Silverback asked a question on YouTube, and this is inspired by his question, because we just reworded it a little bit. In our riff, we mentioned several times that we think Drax, the character, gaslights Pinkie Pie, and to a lesser extent, Fluttershy. And Ancient Silverback wanted to know if that was intended or if that's a misinterpretation.
They just went on our end.
No,
or something.
It wasn't intention. Basically, it's like, this is my headcanon of who and what Pinkie Pie is. And I basically just walked up and told her, you know what, this is who you are. And she was like, you know what, you're right. Now that I think about it, But I've done this to people in real life, but rarely. But occasionally, it's most of the time people are just in denial about who and what they are, and then once you point it out to them, they're like, "Oh, damn, you're right.
Sorry.
I am an idiot." And then that's basically what I did. Is I basically told her my headcanon, which is what I did to a bunch of them, and I even complained about it. Honestly, that particular part of the character, it even annoyed me. Because if you go through and read some of the author's notes on my DeviantArt page when I posted it, I put like, he decides he's going to be Dr. Phil again this episode and tell everybody what's wrong with them. And like I said, that even annoyed me, but that's how it played out in the dream, so that's how I wrote it.
How you wrote it. So would you say that Drax gaslights Pinkie Pie? Because we say it's gaslighting because
he did not make her think something that wasn't true. He just basically pointed it out, an observation that he already
said. If anything, this would be if a person doesn't think Pinkie Pie is really like that, the way they should read those scenes in the story is basically this is slightly alternate universe.
Yeah. This is definitely alternate.
Now, and I will say, like, the only reason that we know that it's not a lie is because we're told it in the story. Like, I feel like in real life, you could think that you're telling somebody, what they truly think, and you could accidentally end up gaslighting them.
I mean, a lot of gaslighters, obviously, they're not going to realize they're doing it.
If it did happen, it was accidental, but basically, he was trying to just point out, this is how I see you.
Exactly.
This is how I feel you are,
But a minute ago, you said you sometimes do this to people in real life.
I've actually done it. I'm like, I've had people who were in denial about, like.
Can you give an example of this? Because right now I'm worried that it sounds like I don't want you to sound like you abuse people.
Yeah.
No. Because they always have the opportunity to argue back and tell me I'm full of shit and believe whatever they believe. But I'll basically point out that this is how I think you are, and either they stop and say, yeah, you're right, or they're like, yeah, fuck you don't know what you're talking about.
No, are these people are like strangers, like you're walking down the street and it's like, that person, right there.
No, I'm talking like friends and family, people that I know intimately. Really well. And, I'll be like, you suck at money. Every time you get money in your hand, you go out and blow it.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
So you're trying to be a useful critical friend rather than like...
Exactly. It's just like I said, the Drax in the character, he just kind of overdid it a little bit. He just came out of no, because basically the idea is he's treating them like a friend, even though from their perspective,
he's a total stranger.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's a total stranger. He's never met them. But from his perspective, he knows them because he's been watching them for years on the show.
And he's very familiar with them. Yeah, that's
okay.
Right,
Yeah,
he knows
that makes
them.
it makes a lot of
so,
sense.
like I said, in real life, what probably would have happened, they would have been like, "Who the hell are you? You
go
don't know
fuck
me.
yourself."
Yeah, you don't know me. How the hell? Who are you to say this?
Right.
You know, but
and then maybe later on they'd go, "Hang on, yeah, you're
maybe
right." But
right,
seeing it's in a dream, though. You know, they didn't argue. They were just like, "Yes, you're right," which is why it seemed like gaslighting.
Right.
But like I said, I know, like I said, because taking a step back and looking at it from an outside perspective,
right.
And like I said, if this would have happened in real life, they would have called bullshit.
Right.
And they
we're thinking about this as the show's universe, just the show's universe, that I think would be gaslighting, because you don't think Pinkie Pie is actually like that.
No.
Like,
she's in
the show, like you don't think that's
honestly,
the show's intention.
I started watching the show. The first live show episode I watched was Party of One, where she basically goes into a spiral of depression and starts making up fake friends because she thought her friends don't want to be around her anymore.
Right. And
that's basically what I want, where I basically got this whole headcanon that she's basically covering up a lot of hurt. You know, she's very insecure. This is my headcanon, by the way, so take it with a grain of salt. That she's very insecure, that, you know, which is why she's always got to be out there making her friends happy, you know, is because that's how she develops her own self-esteem and character and stuff like that, is by making all her friends happy. That makes her happy.
I mean, there are people who are like that.
I've done that. I'm like that.
No.
I go to places and I'm trying to make my friends happy because I feed off their own happiness.
Yeah.
I hate people, but
when I was at my
out of
lowest
my
points,
way to make them happy and for a thank you, just to make myself feel good.
Yeah.
You know, it's
I know that.
It's true. I mean, I'll be honest with that. It is selfish, but it's true. I will help my friends just to make myself feel better. Yeah. You know, as opposed to other people who hurt people to make themselves feel better. It's
right. And see, like when I'm clinically depressed, and when I'm at my low points, when I'm at my lowest points, that's when I tend to be the most generous, and that's when I tend to be the most like going out of my way to try to make people laugh and try to make people happy.
I too have been
officially
diagnosed with depression, and
same here.
Like I said, I'm like that too.
Yeah, so it's
it's
a struggle. It's a struggle
make
we know.
Other people around me happy and feed off their happiness, or I drink.
No.
Don't treat your depression with drinking, though. It's not good for you.
Yeah, it's a Band-Aid.
No.
If you try doing it all the time, you wind up like I did about 2 months ago, which is why I had to quit drinking.
Gotcha. I think depression for me has been, you know, kind of a similar thing. Yeah. Typically, though, well, maybe it's more the opposite. Typically, when I'm sad, my biggest fear is spreading that to other people. Right. So I'll isolate myself.
I see. Yeah, that's another thing that people do, yeah.
But when I'm happy, that's when I want to spread it to other people.
By the way, to anybody who's watching and got to this point and is possibly identifying with anything we're saying, if you feel that way and you haven't sought help, seek help.
Yeah.
Yes. Please do.
Like, as embarrassing or scary as it sounds, seek help.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a serious problem. I sought medical help. They gave me some good counseling. They tried giving me some good drugs. The drugs didn't work, but the counseling did. It went a long way to
and the counseling helped me, and the drugs helped me too. So
yeah.
For
some people, they work. They didn't work for me. They worked for about 30 days, and then I built up a tolerance, and they just started getting worse, and had to find other methods.
So
St. John's works wonders. Don't take it regularly, or it'll kill your liver.
So we have this question worded a little bit differently, but I want to ask it this way. So you said Pinkie Pie being depressed is part of your headcanon about it. So and you kind of answered this already, but Drax ends up with Pinkie Pie, even though from the perspective of the character, he still has to walk up and fix her. You know, show her what she's, you know, show her what is in universe the truth, that she's secretly hiding all of this stuff.
He sees himself in her,
right,
and he tries to impart some of the wisdom that he's used to help himself. Mm-hmm. You know, he's like, you're like I once was. This is how I dealt with it. You should try the same. And which is why he connected with her more deeply than any of the other characters.
Right.
You know?
And then just because she's so outgoing in some ways, then she jumps his bounds.
Because, that too.
Yeah. And that's when Kinky Pie takes it away. Once in a long time,
she was truly happy instead of just faking it for everybody.
Right.
Because goodness knows, like I said, it may appear that I'm a nice, happy, outgoing guy, but I hate people.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people that if I was given a big, shiny red button that would just, I'd push the button before they even finish describing, kill everybody? Yes, yeah. Why is it not working? But at the same time, I have to actually society. So I had built up this nice little facade of the friendly, helpful, happy person. Now, don't get me wrong. I enjoy helping people. At the same time, I hate every one of them. So it's weird.
That's interesting. So would you then, we described Drax as being a misanthrope. Would you describe yourself as a misanthrope?
Definitely. I'm just really good at hiding it.
Well, not that good. You wrote a whole story about it.
Because if you catch me early in the morning when I haven't fully woke up, you would not like me. Yeah. Because the mask isn't on, and I would probably want to rip your throat out. But then, like I said, I've been doing it so long that it's second nature. I don't even have to think about it anymore. After I've been up for a couple of minutes, I'm all nice and happy and stuff. So, and I used to laugh at my trainers when I was doing tech support because they were like, they can hear the smile. I'm like, you know what? I could still do the voice of the smile even though I'm frowning. And they can't tell that I'm not smiling.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of being able to act very well. And I'm a pretty good actor.
Yeah.
I haven't been locked up yet.
Yeah. So Christopher Sims asked this question, and you've kind of already answered it, so I'm just asking it just because it's a good question, but you've already answered it. What influenced you to write the characters at times so drastically different from the show, which is your headcanon?
Headcanon, yeah, so.
Yeah, most of it was headcanon. I'm going to blame that because, again, it was a dream. It was my id. So my inner voice wrote them the way he sees them.
Sure.
And then I'm like, okay, that works for me.
Yeah, no, there it is.
And so then the next one, this one's chapter 9. What inspired Celestia's backstory? Is it based on a story you heard, or is it, not to, give away too much personal details? Is it based on someone in real life? Or?
That one, like I said, was the second dream that I had, and it was strongly influenced, like I said, by What Dreams May Come. Mm-hmm. The whole waking up in the afterlife and creating your own universe.
Sure.
And then somewhere along the line, I just got this idea that the reason why she's so happy and smiles and sunshine is because something really bad happened, and this is how she's dealing with it.
So, but that really bad thing, where does that come from?
Was that just something you sort of came up with, or
the family life and all that?
Like I said, it happened in the dream. I wrote it the way I saw it.
I see.
But that's nothing personally happened to me like that. Mm-hmm. No, it was just that's what happened. I'm like, and I said to myself when I woke up, I could totally see that happening to somebody.
Yeah. And so it's not biographical.
I mean, I've heard stories about people being abused and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I've met people that have been horribly abused, and I think it just kind of formulated from that.
And I actually have a kind of a follow-up about Celestia's backstory. Did you have an illness in mind for what Celestia has? Because I have an idea based on the way you described it, the symptoms. I have an idea of what it might have been.
Yeah, it's basically, what's the term for it? Down syndrome.
Down syndrome?
Yeah.
See, I was thinking cerebral palsy because
of her physical movement.
Because her physical movement is restricted, and sometimes she can't control her body, but her mind is all there. Well, and as somebody who's worked with special needs kids,
I've met quite a few people. I've had customers that have had both. Sound Down syndrome, and then they later on develop cerebral palsy. So if he has, other than the visual appearance, they also start to have physical problems. But yet, when you talk to these people, they're some of the smartest people you ever meet, and they're all there. Okay, even though they may not be able to look you in the eye, they can talk to you, and they're perfectly fine mentally. Okay, but at the same time, they're like, they're looking off somewhere else, or at the same time, they may not be able to fully articulate, not because they can't think it, but just because they can't speak it.
Right. And not to be too much of a nitpick, but I worked with special needs kids, and I worked with kids who had both cerebral palsy and Down syndrome, and both. And a lot of kids with Down syndrome don't have the mental faculties to keep up with the other kids. But as they become adults, they develop slowly, but they do develop many times to fully functional,
it just takes longer.
It just takes longer. Yeah. And so I think if we were looking for like a plot hole here, I would say that since Celestia was supposed to be a young girl who then died.
Or was killed,
then if she had CP or Down syndrome, either way, she shouldn't be functioning at quite the same level.
I mean, I think it actually.
But
does
if it was just CP, then absolutely.
Like I said, I probably don't have as much experience as you do. I'm just dealing with people that I've met, dealing with the public and stuff like that.
Meeting people with Down syndrome in adulthood, a lot of times they I don't mean to be rude, but they have the Down syndrome look. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They have the physical appearance.
The physical appearance of somebody with Down syndrome, but a lot of their mental faculties, they have a hard time communicating it, but they're thinking all the same things.
Right. But
it's a communication thing.
I've met quite a few that, now mind you, they're in their 30s, but they act like they're in their 20s.
Right.
Where,
they're a little bit less mature.
For a 20-year-old, they're a little bit slow, but they're still there. They can still hold a conversation. Yeah. They may slur a little bit or something like that, but they can still hold a conversation. They can still kind of keep up. And to be honest, they're about as intelligent as most of the people that I meet that don't have it.
Yeah.
And which is, like I said, I have a low opinion of humanity as a whole, as you may have figured out.
Yeah.
Most people don't have anything wrong in them, and they're just stupid. That's the difference. That's the difference between ignorant and stupid. Okay.
Some people can help it. Some
hand them the answer, and they'll still get it wrong. Yeah. And then there's other people who just don't know.
Yeah.
People would have mental disability, they may not know, but if you teach them, it may take them a few tries, but they'll get it. They're still cool. I've grown up with them. I've dealt with them in the public a lot. Like I said, maybe not as much experience as you, but that's
I don't want to make it sound like I've been like a social worker for 20 years. Like, I'm still 24, so I don't have a ton of experience.
But like I said, though, it's just basically, I think it kind of just developed from people that I've met. I've met a few people like that.
That makes sense.
Like I said, they may be 40 years old and they're acting like a 20-year-old, but at the same time, they're acting like a 20-year-old.
And not like a 5-year-old or a 3-year-old.
Yeah, exactly. So, this next question sort of goes in a different direction.
By the way, we didn't really have a question for Chapter 10.
Yeah, we're just glossing over. We didn't think of one. So, Chapter 11. This is one that I had wanted to ask. In the chapter, that's interlude, where he...
I just took a bunch of headcanons and said, let's have fun with this.
Exactly.
That was actually one of the parts where I really didn't have any solid story. So I was just like, let's just write a bunch of stuff.
Slice of life.
Yeah. And this one specifically ties into the music. Now, consequences-wise, he wouldn't actually get in trouble for this, but ethically speaking, it seems a little iffy to sort of take credit and sell the music. Since he didn't create it.
Even though there's no...
If you listen to any of the music these days, like 2/3 of it is remixes of someone else's songs. That's kind of how
but this isn't like even his remixes.
He's just taking someone else's work.
I mean, if you were really there, this sort of ties to the question from earlier, would you do the same, or would you not really have much of a problem with it?
Honestly, it's another world. Nah.
Yeah.
I might feel guilty afterwards, but at the same time, I'm like, give me the bits. But basically, from when I looked at it, I was just like, I was kind of inspiring them to try something else. I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone remembers the scene from Back to the Future, when he calls them up. Remember that sound you were looking for? Listen to this.
Yeah, exactly.
That's basically what I did. I was like, here's a new song, new genres, new songs that I have from my world. How do you like them? Some of them, okay. Sure. If anything, the onus should probably go on, DJ Pone 3, who decided to do them unedited and publish them. But I'm
probably, actually.
Yeah.
Because he just sort of said, here's the music. She could have done whatever
job.
she wanted.
You're supposed to do something.
And she's like, I'm just going to sell these. I'm like, well, give me a cut of it, And
I will say, it's like, it's not something that, it's like a huge deal to me. It's like, how dare you do that?
Right.
But it's just, like, if I like...
Now, would you steal a car?
In the same
situation... question, would you steal a car?
Yes. Like, in the same situation, if I were there in the same situation where I could sell music to someone, from another world, I might be timid, but I'd probably feel kind of bad about it.
He went into the... I'd like to think of it this way. He went into it thinking, hey, here's some ideas I think you would like. And they were like, yes, I'm going to use these. Sell them. And he was like, okay, well, as long as you're paying me, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, he may have felt bad about
after
it.
The fact,
it was kind of out of his hands. He gave them an idea, and they just decided to copy-paste it instead of, Now, I did try to write it that it inspired some of the people.
Right, yeah. We got that, yeah.
But, I'm pretty sure there was a couple of them that were just done straight from copy-paste, and he was just like, well, as long as I'm getting paid.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, what kinds of music would they have taken from the real world, from your iPod?
Yeah, like what would you have had on your iPod?
That's the funny thing is, my iPod has since died, since the battery died. And
have you tried inventing magic batteries?
What's that?
Have you tried inventing magic batteries?
That's what it needs. It needs a new battery, but I'm not paying the $80 to give me a refurb. Like I said, I work for Apple. I know how they work. They don't actually fix your iPod. They hand you a refurb and then use your parts. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of Pony fan music, which at the time I was really big into. I haven't been keeping track so much lately. There was definitely a lot of heavy metal. There was a lot of Daft Punk and other type. Stuff
electronic,
like
yeah, cool electronic.
What kind of heavy metal bands do you listen to?
Oh, dear Lord!
Just curious.
I listen to all the '80s and '90s classic stuff. So
sure. Okay. So
Pantera, Metallica, Megadeth, all that stuff. I grew up with that.
So the heavier
75,
stuff.
so I grew up in the '80s.
Yeah.
I listen to all that stuff. Some of the newer stuff I love Osiris, which is freaking awesome. How many metal bands have a woman lead?
Yeah, that's true.
It's awesome.
Let's not mention Nightwish.
That's the only one I can think of.
There's a lot of them that sound like women, but this one actually has a woman. But yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't Nightwish actually have a female lead?
No, sorry, it's OTEP. OTEP was the name of the group.
OTEP.
That's not yeah. But yeah, that's a serious metal band. And, they have a woman lead. It sounds amazing. And then, of course, I listen to Megadeth. I was on Megadeth. Death Clock.
Death Clock is
awesome.
They're the biggest band in the world.
Yeah, they are the biggest band in the world.
Seriously.
Bar none.
Yeah. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like I said, I was real big into, a lot of electronic music and stuff and EDM and things like that.
Also, just for my vanity, since you guys seem to have a negative reaction to Nightwish, I've never actually listened to Nightwish. I just know they have a female lead.
Yeah.
So if they're a band you're not supposed to like...
Nightwish has got a couple good songs.
I don't like Nightwish, but that's just me.
I said, they got a couple good songs.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of bands have a couple of songs that I'll be like, yeah.
There is no band that I like everything they do.
Yeah.
Everyone's got a few good songs. Some have more songs than others, but yeah.
Are there any bands you explicitly hate?
Yeah.
Pretty much any pop band.
Really?
Yeah, I hate pop music.
Like modern pop?
Like frickin' Hanson,
So not modern pop, ancient pop.
Most of the boy band stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, don't forget that Hanson went from being like a pop band to all of a sudden, like now they're like an indie rock band that everybody likes.
That chick that apparently exploited a loophole and did a remix of No Rain, who is now being sued for, by the way. Yeah, she needs to die. And the chick that redid Fast Car, she needs to die hard, slowly and painfully. That is a blues song. It is not a happy pop song. Fuck you, bitch.
What about a happy blues song? A happy blues pop song?
Yeah, the blues can be happy.
A bluesy happy song.
I'm joking. It cannot be.
That's not
sort of the answer. The blues sort of goes against.
Have you heard it? I got to listen to
blues.
it at work. I'm forced to, whether I want to or not.
Gosh,
but there's some chick who apparently she did a remix of Fast Car, and it's all like, I got a fast car. I'm like,
I've never heard that.
Die. Just die.
Link in the description.
Yes. So next question.
Actually, the next two questions are both kind of have already been answered.
Yeah. So that's what I was going to say. So we're just once again going to just go through them here.
Yeah.
Actually, we probably skipped 12 outright
because I have to get the same number of questions.
Yeah. I mean, all it says is, do you think Rarity is actually racist in the show, or is that just a characterization used for like the chapter?
But that's headcanon.
Not so much racist as speciest.
Sure, but I mean, you explained her characterization. Yeah, you explained her characterization. It's not really so much about bigotry as much as bigotry that's masked as
interspecies thing.
Yeah.
She's
But I mean, that's something that she wouldn't even get a chance to exhibit in the show. So it's obviously not going to be in the show.
I kind of just had a little chuckle to myself that white ponies got racism. Yeah. It was a joke. Yeah. Bad joke, but whatever.
No, that's fine.
Oh, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, so chapter 13.
Trust me, we at the Steel Donut only make bad jokes. Yeah. You can nod to that.
Yeah. Chapter 13, the question for chapter 13 was, do you have a dark side like Drax the character? I think you said earlier,
yes.
Everyone has a little bit of a dark side. Yeah. Some more than others.
But you don't have a dark side the same way he does, in the sense of like an actual mind inside your head
that's going to pop out and fight you IRL.
Different than yourself.
Yes, I have voices. No, they don't tell me to kill people. Wait. No, that's my voice telling me to kill people. But what?
Yeah. Okay.
And then chapter 14.
So chapter 14. Okay. So what's her? Gosh, I was about to say what's her name. Derpy.
As a prophecy.
Derpy is a prophecy. And the prophecy says something about a dark choice. And then we had an argument in the video about
what the dark choice was. So.
Because Darkseid shows up and says, hey, you little shit, I'm gonna destroy this place. Or, what, you can kill yourself or something?
Or you can send you back.
Yeah, or I can send you back. What's the
No, I can make you a dragon or something.
Well,
we're really well prepared
Basically,
for this question.
The choice is he could have just gone off into the little dreamland and become a happy little whatever. And
happy little dragon?
Yeah, happy little dragon or whatever.
Live as a dragon.
Or he could have just basically given into the darkness and destroyed everything. It turns out that most of it was all a lie anyway.
Right. Okay, but I mean, the choice that is being prophesied and also being stated by the dark side is join me or
ignore me.
Yeah, basically, the idea is he had the ability of creation. He could have completely remade the entire world and destroyed everything if he wanted to, or he could give up his powers, which we find out in the spoiler alert, second story that he didn't actually lose his powers, but whatever.
Yeah.
We actually have a question about that near the end here, which we're getting close to.
Yeah, we only have a few left.
Yeah. Would you actually want to live forever?
Fuck no.
Okay.
Dude, I'm suicidal. I don't even want to live now.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, at one point, Drax says, what if I don't...
laying my head on the train tracks? No.
What if Drax... I mean, one of the things Drax says is like, what if I don't deserve to live forever? And I take issue with that phrasing just because I don't think anybody deserves to live forever, because I don't view it as a good thing.
No. As far as I'm concerned, it's a curse.
But then,
at the same time, I do believe in reincarnation.
Oh, interesting. Well, see, that's different because you're living a different life.
Exactly. Yeah. And I also believe in karma. I mean, come on, Indian, you can understand this. So
atheist.
Yeah, not to sound racist, but I'm pretty sure you understand this. I believe in karma. I believe in reincarnation. I believe that, we go around this wheel again and again until we get it right. And so, yeah, if you do it wrong, your next life's not going to be so happy.
I'm just glad he didn't use an Indian accent to try to woo me.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, there we go. So in chapter 16, or the epilogue, God, I looked at the film for the next question. Yeah. Okay. So in the epilogue, Celestia and Luna do three things. They make Drax fertile, and Luna makes him
Celestia
immortal.
makes him fertile.
Celestia makes him fertile. Luna makes him immortal, and then both of them are restraining his creator magic, which they apparently still have access to.
All without his consent.
All without his consent. Do you think those were okay things to do?
Like, were those just to be like them...
Being nice to him, doing him favors.
If you read the next story, you'll realize that from a character perspective, no, he does not think that's okay. For me, good. Yes.
Yeah, so our idea is they were...
As a writer and reading the story, yes, I think he needed some checks on his power.
No, I don't mean taking away his creator magic. I mean holding on to it.
Yeah.
And then giving it back to him later.
Yeah, I don't think they had a choice on whether... I don't think they could take it away. They could only hide it from him so he didn't know he still had it. That was the best they could do, and they felt that that's what was needed, because otherwise he was seriously OP.
So then what about making him fertile and making him immortal?
Well, he was already immortal. It wasn't so much that they made him immortal. He was already immortal. Because
Celestia says explicitly, if I remember correctly, and I'm quoting Celestia now, if I remember correctly, you were the one who made him immortal, she says to Luna.
Yeah.
But that particular body. Okay, let's put it this way: there's the consciousness, and then there's the body. The body doesn't age, the body doesn't die, but the mind lives on forever. Sure. So his body may be immortal. His mind may be immortal, but she gave him an immortal body, so he would stay in that body.
Wouldn't his body, before he died, his body was immortal as well, right?
Yes, but he had to give it up in order for them to get rid of the
other.
So
then my question is, they gave him immortality without asking.
No. So now if they didn't, would his mind still be immortal? Would he just then become like a little spirit floating around without a body?
Or he would create a new body.
Oh, okay.
I see.
Again, he doesn't know he still has the creator power, so he doesn't know he can create
do any of this
body.
Anyway, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
basically, they kind of tricked him into thinking that he owed them one.
Okay, so
that is actually interesting, because our interpretation was that they were doing some kind of seriously messed up stuff, because they make him fertile without asking.
They were definitely doing some fucked up shit, but at the same time, they felt that was what was necessary. They needed to put some checks and limits on him.
So they're not just being mustache twirlers.
Well, in one way they are kind of being mustache twirling evil. By making him fertile without telling him, they're basically poking magic holes in his conscience.
What I meant by that was they're not being mustache twirlers in the sense that they're doing this with good intentions.
Right.
They were being mustache twirlers if they were like, yes, our evil plan is working. But they're like, our good plan is working.
They wanted to give him a reason to be here and to help the world and be a nice person by giving him a family, someone to love, and a family to take care of.
So they think they know better, and they're just doing what they think is right. Okay.
Exactly. Saying they know better.
They know.
Whether or not they're right is still up in the air.
But they think they know. Okay.
Yeah, it's nice. And
that actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah. That's good.
Like I said, a lot of that kind of I don't explicitly explain it, but I'm kind of hinting to it in the second story. But that's basically everything was done with the best of intentions. They felt that he was just way too overpowered and way out of control, so they tried to put some limits and controls on him.
Right. Even if he doesn't realize some of those limits aren't real.
Okay. Exactly. Until later. Yeah.
Until later. Yeah.
The reason we kept laughing is because we wrote this really stupid question.
We were half asleep last night. Like I said, it was like 2:30 in the morning, and
those are the best questions, man.
We wrote this question down as: Is Chapter 16 canon to your fanon, my manon?
That's so stupid.
Yeah, that one is a stupid question.
Yeah, you said.
Which one was Chapter 16?
That's the epilogue. Yeah.
Well, it started as a serious question, and then one of us jokingly said it with dumb rhymes, and I don't even remember what the original question was asking.
is
chapter 16.
Canon?
Yeah, is epilogue canon to the rest of the story? It sounds like it is.
Since the follow-up,
pretty much.
And that makes sense then, yeah.
The only thing that wasn't canon was the whole him going berserk and killing everybody. That was basically a false dream that he was trapped in.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, the reason we're asking...
it was a dream within a dream. Him waking up in his real body and in the human body, that was a fake dream. So then that didn't work, so they tried to hit him with another one where he was a dragon and went off and killed everybody. So he was literally trapped. They tried twice, 2 different dreams. He woke up from each of them, from one way or another. But neither one of them was really real.
Well, I think the reason why we were asking is just because we wanted to make sure we were asking so that since it's an epilogue,
the end notes say I did this
came from fan ideas and fan service and that kind of thing.
We just wanted to make sure that the ideas were still working for the rest of the
fan
story.
Service.
Yeah, because at that point, like I said, at chapter 14, I closed it off. I said the end, and everyone was like, "Holy shit, you can't do this!"
Which, by the way, I think you should have left it there.
I had so much backlash, and I'm just sitting there twirling my mustache, you don't even know ever 2 more chapters.
I kind of like the idea of the 2 of them sort of being.
Yeah,
demons.
no, I like that. I genuinely like it.
Like I said, I didn't tell anybody that I wrote more chapters, and that I just wanted to fuck with everybody. And then I came back and published the next chapter and then the epilogue. But a lot of the epilogue came from feedback that I got after writing and publishing chapter 14.
Cool. Sure. Okay, so Woos asked one more question on Discord, and he asked, what would you say that Drax, the character's best and worst traits are?
Worst traits is probably that he's a smarmy bastard that thinks he knows better than everybody.
Didn't want to say it, but glad I got it from your mouth.
Yeah. You kept using the word smanks? Yeah. Yeah.
I'm glad you like the word smanks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good word.
It's appropriate. He thinks he knows better than everybody.
Well, real quick, were you watching along or were you listening along?
No, I was listening to him afterwards.
Because we had a meme.
Because I'm usually playing games and doing other stuff while I'm listening to stuff on the screen.
Well, oh gosh, let me see if I can find that May. Oh, you know what? I do know where I can find it. Here, let me link it to you. I used your face and made a sick meme for the word smangst. Let me see. There it is. I'll just send it to you on Skype. There you go. And it'll be on screen as well.
Yeah.
Go ahead and take a look at that.
Hold on.
Quality.
Wherever Skype's chat window is.
There it is. Oh, yeah, I've definitely never seen that. What?
Because, usually it's how many layers of, what is it?
Irony.
How many layers of irony are you on?
Dear Lord, I used to have a mustache like that, didn't I? Wow. What the hell is that? I was a lot fatter back then, too.
Yeah, I think you have lost some weight, yeah.
That's seriously fucked up.
But yeah, so I just wondering if you'd see that. Okay, I'm glad you have.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah. Okay.
I've all right. Gone to the twin goatee.
Yeah.
Goatee works.
That's a good look. So your best and worst traits. You said what the worst trait is.
Oh yeah, what was the best trait?
What do you think his best trait is?
He has some good traits.
Yeah, he's not.
He's trying to help everybody, I guess.
Yeah.
Well intentioned. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say so.
Yeah, I mean, he tries to help everybody. I mean, he may fail miserably at it, but he tries.
Yeah. In this case, he doesn't fail miserably at it because the story does have a happy conclusion.
Yeah. It works out. So, and then the next question, Celestia tells Twilight to ask Drax what he's learned about friendship at the end of the story. Well, what has he learned?
Yeah, what did he learn?
Oh man, I'm drawing blank.
So were we. That's why the question is here.
What did he learn? Oh wow.
Yeah.
Don't just come out and tell friends what they did wrong.
No. or maybe even just to trust people, because at the beginning of the story, he sort of talks about I couldn't trust these people, couldn't I had friendships that fell through. And at the end, he's still on good terms with everybody and continues to be on good terms with them. So maybe friendship can last longer.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah. No. Like I'm being serious. Like that is something I would say that you learned.
Yeah. I guess
that's my answer to it. I mean, it's an interview with you, so
no matter how much you suck, you can still have friends.
I guess.
Yeah.
I think Connor learned that the hard way. I lived with the guy for 4 years. I should know.
Yeah.
He's probably editing this right now.
Yeah.
Not like literally while we're
just edit it up and post.
Yeah. Connor is
just
great.
dumps over our voices.
He sees my
Connor is incredible.
So that's basically the questions we had for this about the story.
Yeah.
We just have 3 more questions. What are your plans for BronyCon this year?
Yeah, what you looking to do?
I'm actually working.
Oh,
I'm working
really?
at BronyCon. Yes. No. I'm working at BronyCon.
Oh, okay.
I got in. I'm going. I laughed at this one. I am the liaison for the psychology and analyst panels. Yeah, that's the same face.
How'd you get that title?
That's the same face I had. I'm like, you're letting me deal with the psychoanalysts. Woo.
So
yeah.
So what does that job entail?
Basically, whenever they have questions, whenever they have problems, whenever they need, I don't know, an extra microphone, some seats, or somebody just to run around and do stuff, I'm the guy they talk to first, and then I find their answers for them.
I see.
No.
Okay,
that makes sense.
The go-between.
I'm not quite a gopher. I'm like last night, one guy was asking, should I send all my material to you or to someone else? And I asked the guy who's coordinating. He's like, no, they sent it to you, and then you just determine whether or not it's appropriate. I'm like, by appropriate, you mean PG-13, PG? He goes,
or just
PG,
on topic.
definitely PG, but use your own discretion. I'm like, oh dear.
My discretion. Here we go. As a professional plot fic writer.
But yeah, that's basically what I do.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, cool. So do you get recognized at these things? Have you ever been recognized?
They're like, oh man, it's the Drax.
The Drax.
Well, like I said, up until now, I've always just hung out with the writers. So I'm usually in the Quills and Sofas, which is the writer room. So yes, I do get recognized quite often. Like, holy crap, you're the guy that wrote that thing. I'm like, yeah, that's me. And then I turn around and go, oh, you're the guy that wrote that thing.
Right. Okay.
It's a lot of people, and we're all each other's heroes. It's a great freaking ego booster when your hero tells you how awesome your story was.
Yeah. Oh my
gosh.
Vice
versa. So, and then at the same time we get to talk shop and stuff like that. Yeah. But that's usually what I do. Yeah. But other than that, I usually just hang out in a freaking place where they have the marketplace and buy stuff. Or I go to the different panels and love them. It's a fun environment. Like, I've never felt so welcome anywhere in my life. Because they're all misanthropes. They're all freaking people who have trouble dealing with, other people or people that don't or whatever. And everybody's accepting of each other.
Yeah.
Like, there is no negativity at all. Everyone's like, dude, fist bump, and they're like, how's it going? Whatever. They don't care who you are, what you are. You're there because you like the thing that they think like, and everyone's cool.
Yeah.
There's just like no negativity. It's like, me growing up in Baltimore, that was mind blowing.
Yeah, Baltimore.
Yeah, like seriously, the first time I went there, it was like a religious experience. I'm like, I have died and gone to frickin' Valhalla.
Yeah.
Why is everybody like me? Why is everybody being so damn friendly? Why are you so friendly?
See, I'm so glad that it's not as popular as it once was to hate on the Brony community. Like a few years ago. Anywhere you went, if on YouTube, really, that's where I was usually seeing it. It's like you'd see somebody has like a completely normal name, nothing to do with My Little Pony. Not that there's anything.
Yeah, there's anything wrong with doing that.
Didn't mean to phrase it that way, but like they'd have like a name, and then they'd have like a Brony picture, like a little My Little Pony anything,
picture,
and people would be like, "Get out of here, Bronies!" And I was like, "What are we doing? Why are you doing that?"
You would see that a lot on TF2 as well.
TF2, I'm glad that's pretty much died down.
Yeah, because I mean, like,
it's not popular to hate Bronies anymore.
Yeah, because I said I don't know if I don't know if I think much of necessarily the show, but like the community is wonderful.
The community's fine. The community's great. Like I said,
everyone supports one another.
FimFiction is an awesome site. Well made. The people on there seem fine.
Still doing it.
Yeah. Well.
I'm busy with an interview. Sorry.
No, that's fine.
Family.
Yeah, just we're pretty much right at the end.
Yeah, we have one last question. It's phrased silly, but I mean, it's pretty much what it says is closing thoughts on the chapter of your life.
Yeah.
How's misspelled?
What are your what are your closing thoughts on this chapter of your life?
This interview.
This interview.
Oh, the interview.
Well, I mean, like,
I'm hoping people actually start reading and commenting on my stuff again.
By all means, seriously, yeah. Like,
because honestly, I've been getting in the last 2 years. That's one of the reasons why I stopped writing as much, and I've kind of gotten bored with BronyCon. It's like I haven't been getting any feedback, so I haven't been feeding off of that. So I'm just like, meh,
Yeah,
so hoping maybe people like come back and look at my stuff again, and
for sure,
encouragement, and I start getting, wanting to write again, because I missed the urge and the fire and the drive to write. It was great. It was a great portion of my life. I loved it. And now I'm just like, whatever. I'll just place EverQuest, whatever. Yeah. So, but
I mean,
I missed it.
we get this misconception sometimes that what we at the Steel Donut would like is for people to stop writing bad fan fiction or stop writing fan fiction.
Or just stop writing, period.
And that is absolutely not the case. And for any viewers of ours who are watching this interview right now and thinking, I kind of like reading fan fiction, or I like reading My Little Pony fan fiction, go read Drax's fan fiction. Link in the description.
By all means,
seriously, link in the description.
Fan fiction. Start writing better fan fiction.
Sure. But I mean, like, don't stop writing. That's not the point.
Never stop writing. Never. There's a saying in the writing community: you're going to write 1,000 bad stories before you write one good one. Yeah. So get them the hell out of the way. Keep writing. Keep writing that really crappy stuff. But you know what? Your number one co-pilot's going to be your editor, the person who's got the balls to come and tell you, dude, this sucks. You need to fix this. And then listen to him. Listen to him and get better. Because you're never going to get better. No one learns to ride a bike until they've fallen down a bunch of times.
Yeah, and our motto...
Your knee, you get better, you get back on the bike, you keep riding. And nobody learns that until they've fallen a bunch of times. And the same thing is true with writing.
Yeah, and I would summarize our views as pretty much, it's like, it's not this is bad, don't do it again.
Yeah, it's this is bad,
do it again, better. But do it better.
Yeah, do it better. Exactly.
Yeah. And
don't stop, just do it better.
Yeah, and that's actually what my calculus teacher in high school once told me, or not once told me, this became his kind of motto. He said, don't say sorry, do better next time. And that's pretty much it. If you don't try to do better, you will never do better. But you have to try in order to possibly do better.
Yeah. You have to be willing to fail.
To throw yourself out there and be willing to fail in order to succeed. And
like I keep telling people, from a customer service standpoint, I keep telling people, I don't know is a valid answer. Just make sure you follow it up with, let me go find out.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'll hear that all the time.
If you do something
wrong,
wrong,
people say that.
Find out what you did wrong, learn from it, and improve.
Yeah,
exactly.
If you don't improve, then what's the point?
The biggest obstacle with knowledge, and something that annoys me when I see other people do it, is when they don't know something, but they
give up.
They say I'm not going to find out, or if they ask me about something and I give them an answer and they
don't like the answer. Yeah,
exactly. Like
they'll just go, "Oh no, I'd rather not know that." What?
Yeah, like I'm perfectly willing to admit that I'm wrong. I don't know something, or that I have said something before that was wrong, but. My goal is to find out if I'm confronted with something I don't know. I want to find out something.
Yeah.
And learn.
So again, customer service. I go by this rule that you always want to find out, because if some person asks you a question and you don't know the answer, I guarantee you there's 12 more people standing outside coming to answer the same damn question. So you damn well better go find the answer.
Yeah.
I only like looking stupid once.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll go find the answer. So for everyone else, I look like I know what I'm doing.
Yeah. And let me just say again to our viewers, if you want to go read Drax's stories, again, seriously, link in the description. Go read them. Go leave comments. Would you agree? They can be as mean as they want to be?
Yeah, go for it. If you,
there you go. You've got the officer's permission to go be mean. I tell this to
my managers and my bosses all the time. It's like, you know what? I don't mind you telling me what's wrong, as long as you got a better way for me to do it. Tell me how I can improve it. Okay? You told me I screwed up. Tell me how I'm going to fix it, how I can do better. Okay? That's fine. But if you're one of those people that are so like, you screwed up and you got nothing else to say, you know what? Get out. I don't care.
Yeah, and
if you got a better way, show me how I can do better. I want to improve myself. I want to do better. Like I said, I have begged my readers, please tell me, give me feedback, tell me how I can do better. I want that, because there's no way I'm going to improve myself unless someone tells me I screwed up. But if you're going to tell me I screwed up, make sure you follow it up with, and this is why, and this is how you can fix it.
And then just criticism.
You may be wrong. You may be wrong. I may not agree with you, but at least give me some criticism. Give me some feedback.
Yeah, and you can always focus on the positive and be constructive too. Like, this was good. Make sure you do this again.
Yeah, that's also helpful. Too. Yeah,
that's the problem with a lot of people. Everyone wants to give you a negative feedback. They never want to give positive feedback. Yeah, anyone that's ever customer service understands that.
But see, the thing is,
never give positive feedback.
On the other end of the spectrum, you see people on fanfiction.net who are always patting each other on the back and just giving
when
hey,
I say
you
positive,
did good, you're perfect.
Yeah, when
I
say positive, when I say positive criticism, I mean positive criticism, not just positivity.
Yeah, positivity and positive criticism, different things.
Some people are deluded. They're in their own little world, and they only want to hear how awesome they are. Those people really need to wake up. Okay, they really need to wake up. They need to have their bubble burst. Sure, be gentle with it, but you need to tell people where they screwed up. Again, tell them this is how you can do better.
Yeah, I mean,
how can I improve?
Yeah, I mean, on the most basic.
If you can't tell me how to improve, I don't need what you got to say.
Yeah, on the most basic level, if you're reading a chapter of a story, there were things that worked, things that didn't work. There might be more some than the other, but if you don't focus on both, you're only giving half a critique.
Yeah, exactly. How can I fix it? Please. Help me. How can I fix it? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, and how can I keep what works?
Needs to know this. That's what I say. You need to have a good editor, the one that you trust, the one that can give you that things. This is where you screwed up. This is how you can do better. And without that, you're just going to be the guy that wrote Aragon.
So that was a pretty good interview. That's all the questions we have.
Yeah.
I do want to end on one thing. So when I know you have to get going, but a few weeks ago,
I'll get to the game. I think they're going to do my last update.
Oh.
Hey, Epic 2.0.
Yeah. So when a few weeks ago, I had when we were like setting up this interview, I actually had a dream that Blake, Matt, and Connor all came to where I live, and so did Yella, and then like 3 other people from our public Discord server all showed up. We all loaded into my car, and it turned out you lived in Omaha, Nebraska in my dream. And so we all drove to Omaha, and we did the interview in person. Not only that, but when we got there, you let us all stay in your home, where you had like a dozen couches for us to sleep on. And
2 years ago, that was true, but not anymore.
And at the end of the interview, you joined the Steel Donut, and it was weird as hell.
I didn't hear about this.
You didn't hear about
now? No.
Yeah, no.
I used to have one of those huge sectional couches, and I'd have a bunch of friends that come over from BronyCon, because all my friends are from other states.
Right,
and they'd show up, and they'd all crash out on the couch.
So you had the crash pad.
Yeah. It was great. Yeah. I believe in the crash couch theory, as I call it. Always have a couch for somebody to crash on.
Yeah.
Friends to show up. Because you never know. A friend's always going to need help, need a place to crash. Even if it's drinking night or the wife kicked him out or whatever, always have a couch for people to crash on.
Yeah. That's why I drive a big car, too.
My family shows up and they're still sitting
I drive a truck, pile people up in the back.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's why I drive an SUV, because, like, I don't drink and I don't do any drugs or anything. But if one of my friends who, I don't want to name names, but some of my friends do drugs, and I don't do them. And, like, if they did them and they were really fucked up and they needed help, it'd be better than having a one-seater, like little
a moped. You're like
like a three-wheeler, like moped.
Hop on the back.
Yeah, like no, that's not gonna get them anywhere.
But
yeah, I've been there too.
Yeah, but yeah, that was pretty good. So again, links to everything we mentioned in the description, and probably links to some random shit we didn't mention in the description too. And,
I'm probably gonna have to send a few links to you.
Yeah.
And then I think lastly, let's just say thank you again.
Yeah, thanks so much for giving us an interview.
Glad to help, man.
Give him a hand. Yeah.
Thank you for helping me become a better writer by critiquing my stuff.
You know what? If we were, I would not even I wouldn't describe what we did as critique. It was mostly just comedy. And...
It's more than I got when I was writing.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is why it is so horrible. Okay, I will take half the blame for writing it, but the other half of the blame is
goes on the people who go, yay!
I had nobody telling me, dude, don't do that. Okay, seriously, it's everyone needs somebody to tell them they fucked up. I'm still not talking to my cousin right now because, he did something stupid. He owed me money and then sent me a message saying, "Yay, I just got some money and I bought this toy for my thing," and I'm like, why would you send me that message? I feel
remember that money
I owe people obligated to point out that you screwed up. As your friend, I'm going to point out that you screwed up because you told me that. I got
all the people to tell.
Yeah.
You told the one person who that money should have gone to.
Yeah.
I don't even care about the money. I don't give a shit. He owed me $30. Okay, the dude owes me like over $1,000 in credit card debt. But he also borrowed $30, and then, like I said, and I don't care about the $30. I'll live without it. But the fact that he sent me a message saying I got $40 and I went and spent it on this thing, and I'm like, so you know what I did? I sent him the link from Family Guy of freaking Stewie beating the crap out of Brian, saying, "Where's my money? Where's my money? You got money for fake mustaches, but where's my money?" Yeah. And he was like, "Really, dude?" I'm like, "No, not really." I feel obligated to say something because you're stupid enough to tell me
not mad.
You spent money and didn't pay me.
Yeah, I'm not mad, but
you need to realize how dumb this is.
You do that to someone else who is going to be mad, you're going to get your ass beat. As your friend,
as your cousin, I should be able to point out and say, you screwed up. Now, I'm not going to keep dogging you like someone else because I'm your friend, but I feel obligated to at least point out that you did something stupid.
Yeah, totally. Anyways.
So yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate what you guys did for me. Like I said, I wish you guys were there when I was writing this. I probably would have wound up with a much better story.
I mean,
but I'm moving on. Hopefully, I'll write better stuff in the future. Whatever.
And you know what? I really hope you do, and I will keep up.
Yeah, like I said, you can reach out to like
either of us.
Well, either of us too. I don't know if the other.
If you
can't speak for the other guys, but you can reach out to either of us.
Yeah, if you hit up the Steel Donut email, like we contacted you with Steel Donut the Collective at gmail.com.
I wrote a chapter. I mean, talks.
Feel free to shoot us a link.
Yeah, tell me how bad it is.
Yeah, sure.
That's usually when I send something to my editor. I'm like, please tell me how bad it is.
Yeah, I mean, and we won't pull punches.
Yeah. I have no ego about this crap. I know it's bad.
It's a hobby.
And that's why I'm sending it to an editor. Please tell me what I did wrong. Proof my work, and so I can fix it and make it better. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Anyways, so that ending that I said 10 minutes ago was pretty good. So I think we're
gonna get going.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get going, and you got to get going too. So
yeah. I got family banging on my door, and I got people wanting me to get in games.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll see you later, man.
I'll see you around.
Maybe we can do this again sometime.
Yeah. Maybe you review one of my other stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay. Take it easy, man.
Later.
Yep.
So that's it for the interview. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, like Drax said, feel free to reach out on any of his stories. Help him out with actual critique.
And again, he seems like a pretty easygoing guy.
He does.
Even really
but still, please write actual critique.
Yeah, and seriously, don't troll authors.
Yeah, and if you want to hang out with us, you can check us out on our public Discord.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, if you find anything, you reach out via the Discord,
email. Twitter, email, snail mail. If you can find my address. Or any of our addresses, I guess.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to go through me. Doesn't have to go through me. But yeah, that's Yeah, that went pretty well, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of a long video, but thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks for watching, especially if you watch the whole thing.
Yeah. All right, take it easy.
Bye.